Douluo, the old Yao lives in my body. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51. I have a bold idea. 8 Extreme Collapse. Yang Fan punched the huge rock in front of him. On the surface, there seemed to be no change, but in the next moment, the huge rock in front of him began to collapse from the inside. In the blink of an eye, another month had passed. Not long after he used Yao Lao's strength to perform the 6th level dark power of 8 Extreme Collapse, he could rely on his own strength to perform the 6th level 8 Extreme Collapse. However, after a month, this Xuan level fighting skill remained at the 6th level dark power, and could not make any progress. Master, no. Before he could open his mouth, he heard Yao Lao's rejection. Don't think he doesn't know what this brat is up to. He just wants to use his strength again, to try to comprehend the true dark power of 8 Extreme Collapse. Yes, the method Yang Fan thought of is indeed twice the result with half the effort for the current practice. What's next? After Yang Fan has cultivated to his strength or even surpassed him, whose power should he rely on as a guide? After all, cultivation depends on oneself. Practice is not something that can be done overnight. Don't rush it. Yao Lao waved his hand, and the vial containing the burning blood appeared in his palm. The sun was shining brightly. It was the best time of the day to use the burning blood to temper Dao Qi. Yang Fan gritted his teeth and accepted the baptism of the burning blood. Although the burning blood body tempering had lasted for several months, this unforgettable sourness was still unbearable for him. It was painful, but the effect was equally excellent. During this period, he always felt that he was about to break through the Daos, but when he really wanted to touch the barrier, he found that he couldn't touch it. The feeling of being close yet distant made him a little impatient. Yao Lao told him that this was a sign of a breakthrough to the Daos, and as for when it would come, it all depended on the Daos himself. It could be as short as a few days, or as long as a few months. Every Daos has different physical strengths and different cultivation experiences, so the results are naturally very different. Concentrate on practicing. If you let your mind wander and become possessed, even your master may not be able to save you. Yao Lao's voice was filled with the suppression of a powerful soul, and his spirit trembled the moment it entered his ears. Even if it was just a random thought, it was impossible. After an unknown amount of time, when Yang Fan woke up again from his practice, it was already late at night, and the cool breeze from the Soul Beast forest made him touch his neck. Dao Qi surged. A ball of orange-red Dao Qi rose up in his palm. He still couldn't break through. Yao Lao kept telling him not to worry, but how many people could be calm when it came to the promotion to Dao Master? He couldn't do it. After becoming a Dao Master, he could condense Dao Qi Gore's clothes, gather Qi into liquid, and naturally his strength would be able to rise to another level. Yang Fan looked at the Dao Qi in his left palm, and at this time he condensed a ball of soul power in his right palm. A bold idea emerged in his mind. Buddha's wrath. Fire lotus? Exclamation mark. Xiao Huahuo next door used 2 kinds of flames to create a powerful explosion that could easily cross levels. He only has one kind of flame now, which is definitely not fusion, but it has the energy of 2 cultivation systems, soul power and fighting spirit. If fighting spirit and soul power are mixed together, what kind of reaction will it produce? Soul energy bomb? Fighting skills that surpass the flame dividing wave devouring ruler. There is no one around, and he is idle. Yang Fan decided to give it a try. The moment his left and right hands gathered in the middle, he could feel that the air around him had begun to fluctuate. Yang Fan was very careful. He secretly warned himself in his heart that if he found that something was wrong, he would immediately cancel this stupid operation. He didn't want to die unjustly in his own hands. Slow down. Slow down. Slow down. Yang Fan kept repeating this sentence in his heart. He could clearly perceive that the 2 air masses approaching each other even by 1 millimeter could greatly change the flow of the surrounding air. It took about 10 minutes for Yang Fan to finally fit the soul power and fighting spirit tightly together. The next moment was to witness the miracle. In an instant, the surrounding air suddenly changed. The air in the already cold night dropped sharply, making Yang Fan, who had the fire attribute, feel the biting cold. The cold breath instantly wiped out the soul power and fighting spirit in Yang Fan's palm. You mad boy, are you? When two different gases merge together, there will be an explosion, and then there will be nothing left of you. Yao Lao was so angry that his face looked ugly. Fortunately, he found out in time, otherwise Yang Fan, this stinky boy, might have turned into a pool of rotten meat. Master, don't hit me. Seeing that Yao Lao had no intention of taking action, Yang Fan poked his head out from behind the big rock, where he had just practiced. It was just a little bit. If Yao Lao had found out a little later, he would have merged the soul power and fighting spirit together. Yang Fan knew that Yao Lao was doing this for his own good, and he could even give up reshaping his body for his practice, but just now he vaguely felt that the soul power and fighting spirit did not have that strong sense of repulsion. This was a subtlety that he could feel, but Yao Lao could not understand. Fighting spirit is fighting spirit. Soul power is soul power. These are two different cultivation systems, and also two different energies, and two different skills and spells. This is the most basic common sense. It's just like people can't eat shit. Yao Lao thought Yang Fan knew it, but this kid insisted on having a taste. After calming down, Yao Lao spoke again. It's good to have ideas, but don't be too bold. Yang Fan's wild ideas made Yao Lao's eyes light up. Maybe it can really work. But once it's in vain, especially under the premise that Yang Fan has no means of signing up, the ending will definitely be broken into pieces. Tell me about it. What did you feel just now? Yao Lao never used his old stubborn ideas to solidify Yang Fan's cultivation path, and he always encouraged Yang Fan to try new things in cultivation. I can't say the two energy bodies did have a very intense rejection reaction when they were close to each other, but when they were about to merge, it wasn't that strong. Yang Fan didn't know how to describe that fleeting feeling, but in his heart he believed that the fusion of soul power and fighting spirit would work. That's because the two haven't really merged yet. Once most of the soul power and fighting spirit merge, the two different energy bodies will inevitably conflict with each other, just like two different fighting skills collide and explode. Yang Fan nodded thoughtfully. In theory, soul power and fighting spirit can definitely merge briefly to form soul energy bombs. What he needs to solve is to prevent the two energy bodies from exploding during the fusion process, and he needs to grasp the opportunity to enter the field and throw the soul energy bomb to the enemy to detonate it instantly. Thank you, Master. He understands. Chapter 52 Meeting Tang San in Sunset's Forest. Bang, a 1,000-year-old giant bear hit the ground heavily, and its weak breathing indicated that the life of this giant bear was about to end. Yang Fan jumped down from a cliff about 10 meters high and landed on the soft belly of the giant bear. Done. Training in the soul beast forest is much more comfortable than in the soul fighting arena. Although fighting souls will not be life-threatening in most cases, it also makes him feel constrained. Facing soul beasts is different. The ferocity of soul beasts is not possessed by soul masters, and the battle that lasts for a moment is the best training for him. Yang Fan inserted the Xuantian ruler into the ground, and a sharp blade appeared in his hand. He jumped off the giant bear's body and skillfully cut open the giant bear's head, torso and limbs. No. The longer you stay in the soul beast forest, the more you can appreciate the rarity of soul bones. Although there are no soul bones, Yang Fan did not intend to let go of this soul beast that has reached 1,500 years. The sharp blade cut from the giant bear's head to its buttocks, and then tore the bear skin in the middle. Bear soul beasts are full of treasures. The bear paws and bear gallbladders are the materials for refining medicine that he collected this time. The bear skin can be sold to the surrounding towns to make storage backpacks and cold-resistant clothes. After packing up everything, Yang Fan sat on the boulder next to him and took out a cup of water to drink 2 gulps. He took out a pill recipe from the storage soul guide, rejuvenation pill. Effect of the pill: after taking it, it can quickly restore the consumed fighting spirit in the body. Refining materials: 1,000-year-old bear gallbladder, ghost vines over 500 years old, and a 30-year-old kinkson fruit. This kind of pill is useless to him. The reason why Yao Lao asked him to refine it is undoubtedly because the rejuvenation pill is a third grade pill and the refining materials do not require soul bones. The level of refining medicine can be improved by refining the third grade rejuvenation pill, laying a solid foundation for becoming a fourth grade alchemist. To be honest, the medicinal materials for refining the rejuvenation pill are not simple. It took him more than 10 days to find just 1,000-year-old bear gallbladder, and there was no idea where to find the ghost vine next. The simplest is the 30-year-old Kinksin fruit that can be bought in the town. Yang Fan now understands why Yao Lao said that becoming an alchemist is more difficult than becoming a powerful fighter. It's just that this medicine that is nowhere to be found is estimated to be difficult for a large number of alchemists. Yang Fan did not stay for long and left immediately after a short rest. The Soul Beast Forest is full of murderous intent. The bloody smell wafting from the giant bear has turned this area into a place of right and wrong. Master, how many years can I absorb for my third soul ring now? Burning blood to strengthen his body has raised his physical strength to another level. He thinks that the current third soul ring can absorb an 8,000-year soul ring. If you can't solve the problem of soul shock, you can't have 3 rings for 10,000 years in this life. Yao Lao didn't understand the soul shock of the 10,000-year soul ring until he saw the 10,000-year soul ring floating from the mammoth corpse some time ago. To put it bluntly, the 10,000-year soul ring will carry soul power. If the soul power of the soul master is not strong enough, it will be impacted by the soul ring and at best become a fool or even die directly. Have you found a way to solve the soul vibration problem? Yang Fan smiled innocently. I'm helping you solve this problem now. Yang Fan was slightly stunned and then he understood Yao Lao's intention. Master is master. All the training schedules have been arranged clearly for him in advance. At this moment, Yang Fan's face suddenly changed. Master. He heard the sound of fighting on the other side of the hillside, but Yao Lao did not remind him. This means that the soul masters fighting next to him are not strong. Let's go and see. After staying in the Soul Beast Forest for a long time, sometimes I really hope to meet 1 or 2 soul masters. Even if the soul master is a man. Yang Fan was not reckless. He must not show up easily before figuring out the opponent's tricks. It is not a wise choice to establish an enemy in a dangerous place like the Soul Beast Forest. Not daring to cause trouble is mediocre. But if you cause trouble and can't solve it, you are stupid. Yang Fan lay on the top of the hillside and looked down, and the expression on his face changed subtly. Look who this is. A middle-aged man with 4 spirit rings released his strongest 4th spirit skill. Not far away, a plain-looking boy in blue clothes and short hair controlled the edge of the blue-silver grass. A middle-aged uncle with a beard on the other side also shouted out his martial arts skills loudly. Fart like thunder, 3 cannons that blast the sky and crack the earth. Dean, well done. These 3 people are Yu Xiaogang, Tang San and the Dean of Notting Academy. What they are doing with great pains is to deal with a 600-year-old plant-type spirit beast. The 3 of them worked together and finally subdued this plant-type spirit beast. Tang San, you take a rest first. We will leave here as soon as we absorb the spirit rings. The spirit beast forest is a dangerous place. It is even more dangerous for a team like them that does not even have a spirit king. Dean Notting originally planned to take Tang San to the captive spirit beast forest to get a spirit ring at random, but Yu Xiaogang insisted. Not only that, Tang San must also obtain a 700-year-old plant-type soul beast ghost vine. The 3 searched in the captive soul beast forest for more than half a month, and finally came to the outer edge of the sunset forest. Although it was only the outer edge, the danger here was far from comparable to the captive soul beast forest. Xiao-san, don't be too anxious. With the experience of absorbing soul rings last time, you can do it easily. Yu Xiaogang walked to Tang San and patted his shoulder. This was Tang San's 2nd soul ring, but he was excited. According to his 10 core theories of martial souls, Tang San would definitely be able to obtain a control skill after absorbing this ghost vine. Tang San was still 2 months away from turning 8, and he had already successfully broken through to become a great soul master. Such a training speed can be called rare on the Douluo Continent. When Tang San's strength reaches a soul saint, he will show the clear sky hammer and attach a soul ring. The more Yu Xiaogang thought about it, the more excited he became. As long as the clear sky hammer was attached with a soul ring, his disciple would be able to officially enter the ranks of the strong, and then no one would question his 10 core theories of martial souls. Yu Xiaogang couldn't help but secretly congratulate himself on how wise it was to accept Tang San, who had full innate soul power. Only Tang San could best prove his 10 core theories of martial soul. Yu Xiaogang secretly vowed that he must sharpen his head and surprise everyone. At this moment, Tang San, who had adjusted his state, walked in front of the ghost vine, put away his knife, and stabbed it directly into the ghost vine's vital point. The pain made the 600-year-old ghost vine struggle violently, and countless vines stood up high, and then suddenly not long after, a yellow soul ring slowly floated out from the body of the ghost vine. Chapter 53 I think you have a way to die. Yang Fan gets angry when he sees the Tang family. If Tang Hao had the courage to stand up and take responsibility for what he had done like a real man, the spirit hall would have no reason to target the entire Haoshan sect. However, this Haoshan sect's rare super genius ended up being a coward. Now Tang San can absorb the second spirit ring fearlessly in the outer periphery of the Sunset's forest. Does he really think that he, Yang Fan, has no temper? Master, are there any strong people around? Titled Douluo level. Yang Fan decided to give him a shot. But before that, he must make sure whether Tang Hao is nearby. Although he hates Tang Hao to the bone, he has to admit the strength of Rish and Douluo. Probably not. It's stable. Yang Fan also thinks that Tang Hao should not be here now. If his wife is lost, anyone would be angry. He estimated that Tang Rishan must be looking for a wife all over the world now. Master, I'll do this myself. Yang Fan dragged the huge Xuantian ruler and walked slowly down the hillside. His appearance instantly alerted Yu Xiaogang, Tang San and others, and also interrupted Tang San's idea of absorbing spirit rings. There are strict requirements for spirit masters to absorb spirit rings. The first condition is to ensure that the spirit master has sufficient physical strength to fight wits and courage with the spirit ring, and the second is to ensure the absolute safety of the surrounding environment, and no accidents are allowed to happen. This is why spirit masters like to form a team to enter the spirit beast forest, and why they need someone to protect them when absorbing spirit rings. There are not a few spirit masters who die at the node of absorbing spirit rings every year in Douluo Continent. Yu Xiaogang stepped forward and bowed slightly. We are from Notting Academy. May I ask who you are? It can be confirmed that the black cloak coming down the hillside is coming for them. As for whether it is an enemy or a friend, there are no eternal friends in the spirit beast forest. At this time, the trio has been tense, and Tang San has even activated the mechanism of the sleeve arrow. I want this spirit beast. You can get out now. The young voice under the cloak startled Yu Xiaogang. Although the person under the cloak can hide his true voice, it is still obvious that this is a child who is no more than 15 years old. Yu Xiaogang looked around. It was hard for him to believe that a child would come to the Soul Beast Forest alone, or was there a master behind him that he could not see? Soon, Yu Xiaogang returned to his previous attitude, with a hint of arrogance on his face. My little brother, the first condition for a soul master to absorb a soul ring is to personally end the life of the soul beast. Now it is useless, even if we give it to you. The master of theory is online. When did I say I want to absorb a soul ring? If Yang Fan did not interrupt Yu Xiaogang, he would probably have explained all the 10 core theories of martial spirits to him. At this time, the Dean of Notting College leaned over to Yu Xiaogang's ear and said a few words. In that case, then let's follow the rules of the Soul Beast Forest. Yu Xiaogang also saw that Yang Fan on the opposite side was a cuckold eating a weight today, and was determined to get this plant-type soul beast ghost vine that they had hunted. Teacher, what are the rules? Yu Xiaogang was very satisfied with Tang San's attitude of asking without hesitation, which made him feel an inexplicable sense of satisfaction. Both parties decide the ownership of this soul beast through fighting spirits. Yu Xiaogang told Tang San and deliberately transmitted the voice to Yang Fan's ears. He believed that a person who didn't even know that soul beasts needed to be hunted by hand to absorb soul rings must not understand the rules of the soul beast forest. Although fighting spirits to snatch soul beasts is an unwritten rule, it is very common in the soul beast forest, and soul masters in the soul master circle also abide by this rule. Regardless of whether Yang Fan has a master behind him, once this agreement is established, even if he loses, he can only admit defeat. Xiao-san, the strength of this soul master should be similar to yours. Don't worry, the teacher will be there to guide you. Yu Xiaogang has already made a simple analysis in his mind. First of all, this is a 600-year-old soul beast, and the output is naturally a yellow soul ring representing 100 years. Since the young man under the black cloak wants this soul ring, it means that he should also be a soul master who will absorb the second soul ring. Of course, if the spirit master didn't understand the time limit and came to Sunset Forest to obtain the first spirit ring without fear, then there would be no need to be afraid. Xiao-san, this spirit ring will disappear within half an hour. Tang San certainly understood what this meant. Half an hour. He had to defeat his opponent within half an hour to absorb the second spirit ring that he had obtained with great difficulty. So much nonsense. Yang Fan rushed over in one step, raised the huge black ruler high, and chopped it down with force. The lightning fast attack scared Tang San. He clapped his hands forward, and the middle part showed a white jade color. With a clang, the collision of the two actually made a strange crisp sound, and in this harsh sound, Tang San's body staggered backwards, and finally used a strange body movement to stabilize his body. So strong. This was Tang San's first reaction. However, his eyes were fixed on the black ruler in Yang Fan's hand. Just now, the moment his palm touched the huge black ruler, he actually felt that the Xuantian Gong in his body was suppressed. What on earth is that? Tang San could tell that it was definitely not an ordinary item. Quiet as a virgin, moving like a rabbit. In a flash, Yang Fan's attack arrived again. The white Xuantian ruler swept across Tang San's throat, and at the moment when Tang San used the ghost shadow to dodge, he used the power of his waist and abdomen to move up. Tang San felt not only strong at this time, but also felt the strong murderous aura emanating from Yang Fan. That's right. At this moment, Yang Fan actually had the intention to kill, and wanted to take advantage of this node when Tang Heo was not around, to get rid of the scoundrel. Blue silver grass, entanglement. Tang San was just playing a big game. He used the magical body movement of the ghost shadow to retreat step by step, and at the same time, he quietly led Yang Fan into the territory of the blue silver grass. Now, the blue silver vines as thick as wrists rose from the ground, wrapping Yang Fan layer by layer like a python. At this time, a voice echoed in Tang San's mind. The third article of Xuantian Baolu, if you are sure that your opponent is an enemy, as long as he has the means to die, do not show mercy, otherwise it will only add trouble to yourself. He now sees that Yang Fan has the means to die. At this time, a silver weapon flashing with cold light was taken out from behind by Tang San. The weapon is about 1 foot long, with a short arrowhead with less than 8 inches of tail feathers, and the front 3 inches have 12 tiny blood grooves. Zhuge Divine Crossbow. At this time, Tang San can currently use the strongest attack. Chapter 54 Tang San's internal injury. What is the nemesis of plant-based martial spirits? Boom. A ball of fire burst out from Yang Fan's palm, and the terrifying high temperature given by the fiery apricot turned the blue silver grass wrapped around his body into ashes in an instant. Ding 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 ding. The feather arrows fired by Zhuge's divine crossbow hit the Xuantian ruler, making a series of dense metal collision sounds, and also causing sparks to fly. In the blink of an eye, Tang San's way of death was easily resolved. Yang Fan quickly turned his body, dragging the Xuantian ruler down with force, and the red flame condensed by the fighting spirit rushed out majestically, forming a fanatical wave slash. Tang San was no different from a soul beast in front of him. Would he be polite to a soul beast? Of course not. A move of the earth level fighting skill, the flame devouring wave ruler, took Tang San's life directly. At this moment, Tang San's eyes suddenly had a layer of purple light, and everything around him seemed to slow down under the cover of this layer of purple light. Most skills have attack blind spots, and the flame devouring wave ruler is no exception. The next second, Tang San used his extremely strange magic shadow to escape the attack of the flame devouring wave ruler, but before he could catch his breath, a fist with rising flames gradually enlarged in front of him. Tang San crossed his hands and took the punch. Instantly, a strong burning sensation spread throughout his body, making Tang San gasp. It's so hot. Tang San thought that his Xuanyu hand was already invulnerable to water and fire, but the flame just now master, make a move quickly. The Dean of Notting College had already seen the current situation clearly. Tang San was now completely beaten unilaterally. If there was no turnaround in the future, this spirit ring would have nothing to do with them. Dean, we have to believe Xiao-san. Yu Xiaogang, the self-proclaimed master of theory, was not completely without anything. He could still see the current situation clearly, but the natural nemesis of the plant-type martial spirit is fire. In this case, Tang San's martial spirit could not even exert 20% of its original strength, and the only thing he could rely on was the so-called hidden weapon. Aren't you a master of theory? What are you waiting for? Dean Notting's words have forced Yu Xiaogang to sweat. Of course he wants to help Tang San, but the situation in front of him is beyond his knowledge. The opponent did not release his martial spirit, but displayed a terrifying skill, and the opponent did not use his soul power, but formed an energy gas mass. These things are not in the books he read. The battle continues. After Yang Fan missed a punch, he deliberately took a step forward, exposing his back to Tang San's attack range. Tang San, who wanted to save the situation, was fooled. At the moment of attacking the back, his fist hit Tang San's side ribs. Tang San, who knew he was tricked, panicked instantly, and at the critical moment, he pulled his right fist from his armpit. At this time, the difference in physical strength between the two was reflected. After he received Tang San's punch, his body shook slightly, and Tang San flew out 4 or 5 meters like a dead dog. After receiving his punch, he fell heavily to the ground, with an extremely painful expression. I'm waiting for an opportunity. What are you waiting for? Yang Fan had to admit that Tang San's ghost shadow phantom was still quite good. If he hadn't deliberately exposed a flaw, he wouldn't have been able to take down this grandson in 2 minutes. What a pity. If that punch hadn't hit Tang San's Xuanyu hand, the power of the 8 extreme collapse would have killed this kid. At this time, Yang Fan was full of killing intent. A Dean Soul sect, a great soul master who only knew how to theorize incorrectly, plus Tang San, who had become a defeated general and lost most of his combat power. It was not difficult for him to deal with these 3 people. However, the sudden appearance of a group of people on the hillside that he had just secretly observed completely disrupted this plan. Yang Fan recognized the burly figures of these people and could already see clearly which sect they belonged to. Elephant Armor Sect. In the entire Douluo Continent, only the Elephant Armor Sect could produce such a big soul master. Silly boy, there is a strong man around. Yao Lao's words suddenly echoed in his heart and completely dispelled his idea of killing Tang San. Strong man. Tang Hao? Or someone else? At this distance, he could kill Tang San with 1 foot. Then what? Even if Yao Lao came out, he might not be able to get rid of all the people here and wipe out all traces. He didn't want to be the one who caused trouble for the sect and then fled to the marginal areas, or even acted as if it had nothing to do with him, and finally said I'm not wrong. What are you looking at? If you have the guts, let's fight each other. Yang Fan's provocation made Yu Xiaogang's face gloomy, especially when he saw Yang Fan was going to take the soul beast he had obtained. His face was uglier than eating shit. He set the rules. Even if they wanted to go back, they had no reason, let alone the strength. At this time, the soul master of the Elephant Armor Sect walked down the hillside. Have you seen a powerful soul master in the Sunset Forest? Yang Fan shook his head and left quietly with the body of the ghost vine. Although he didn't kill Tang San this time, the 6-fold dark energy of the 8 extreme collapse was enough to give this grandson a pot. He now knew Tang San's strength. That's it. If Tang San continues to practice with Yu Xiaogang, let alone becoming a god, it will be difficult for him to become a titled Douluo. This is what Yang Fan said. A clown who thinks he is invincible in theory actually needs to ask others how to solve the problem of twin martial spirits, and finally he didn't get the answer he wanted. What else can he do? What will be the result of Tang San if he can't solve the problem of twin martial spirits? In the original work, the reason why Tang Heo took Tang San away in the Soul Master competition was probably arranged in advance, because Yu Xiaogang was as bad as a muggle, and he was no longer able to teach Tang San, who was above Soul Sect, and he didn't understand the practice method of Clear Sky Hammer. Xiao-san, are you okay? At this time, Tang San's face was pale, and he couldn't even hear what Yu Xiaogang was saying. Wow, the dark energy brought by the 8 extreme collapse gathered in Tang San's body, and finally forced out a mouthful of blood. It's broken. This child has suffered serious internal injuries. Yu Xiaogang's head bust, as if it was about to explode. Internal injuries often run through the Soul Master's training career, and even affect the Soul Master's life. Tang San is still so young. Is he going to witness the fall of a genius today? Who will prove his 10 core theories of martial spirit? Tang Heo handed Tang San to him when he left. What should he do if Tang Heo comes back? Dean, I need to trouble you with one more thing. Please help send us to Soto City. Yu Xiaogang was completely panicked. The only person he could talk to was Flanders, who opened Shrek Academy outside Soto City. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55 Breakthrough. Outlying Town. After Yang Fan arrived in the town, he finally understood why the Soul Master of the Elephant Armor sect asked if he had seen a powerful Soul Master in the Soul Beast Forest. It turned out that they were coming for him. Ever since they killed Hu Yanhei in the Soul Beast Forest last time, the Elephant Armor sect has never given up. 2 months have passed in the blink of an eye. They are still determined to kill him. Fortunately, he erased all traces of his identity information after killing Hu Yanhei, otherwise the Poyue clan would be implicated by him now. After learning about the current news of Douluo Continent in recent months, Yang Fan came to a dimly lit small shop and threw the giant bearskin he took from the Soul Beast Forest on the chopping board of the shop. "Sir, you are here." The shop assistant first bowed slightly to Yang Fan and then set his eyes on the bearskin on the chopping board. First, check the integrity of the bearskin and then measure the size of the bearskin. "Sir, this bearskin of yours is really big. It must be a 1,000-year-old giant bear to produce such a big bearskin, and it is well preserved. According to the market, I can give you a high price of 800 gold soul coins." Yang Fan nodded. The whole transaction took no more than 5 minutes, and Yang Fan did not say a word from beginning to end. This is the most common transaction process in the outer town. Most of the civilians on the Douluo Continent have an inexplicable admiration for Soul Masters. Over time, Soul Masters have developed a sense of superiority, which leads to Soul Masters looking down on these civilians doing business in the outer area, so naturally there is less communication during transactions. However, Yang Fan did not speak because he looked down on civilians, but because he did not want to expose his identity too much, especially now that the Xiangjia sect is eyeing him covetously. Yang Fan walked around the outer town, first making sure that there was no atmosphere full of gunpowder in the whole town, then bought the 30-year-old Kinksin fruit needed to refine the 3rd grade key recovering pill at the medicine shop, and finally found a hotel with a good location in the town to stay. The sky gradually darkened. Yang Fan took out the medicinal materials and alchemy furnace for refining the 3rd grade key recovering pill from the storage soul guide. The next step is the most critical step in refining the key recovering pill, processing the medicinal materials. In the past, he used ready-made medicinal materials, or the medicinal master had already processed them for him, but now he has to do it himself. The medicinal master said that this is an indispensable step to become a pharmacist. Only by truly processing these medicinal materials can you deeply understand the true role of these medicinal materials. It is said that those great alchemists who have studied the pill formula all started from this step to lay a solid foundation. According to the medicinal master, the bear gall needs to be dried and then ground into powder, and only a small spoonful is needed when it is used. Yang Fan likes this idea of alchemy. If the key recovering pill uses a bear gall and a ghost vine that is more than 500 years old at a time, the cost is too high. After all, this is just a consumable for restoring fighting spirit. It would be a miracle if someone would practice it. If the cost is too high. Yang Fan had already completed the drying step in the Soul Beast forest. The bear gall, which was originally as big as a bowl, shrank severely after being air dried and looked like a piece of moldy dry bark. After the bear gall was ground into powder, it went to the ghost vine. The huge ghost vine had been cut into small pieces by Yao Lao with his consent. Otherwise it would look like a giant octopus, and the whole room would probably not be able to fit it. The ghost vine was also treated by drying it, making it like cinnamon bark, and throwing a few pieces into the furnace when it was used. Master, I'm ready to start refining. Refining a pill like the key recovering pill does not have too much psychological pressure like the awakening pill. I'm happy if it succeeds. If it fails, I can just start over. Yang Fan thought to himself, how great it would be if all the pills in this world did not need soul bones like the key recovering pill. Failed the first time. Failed the second time. Yang Fan secretly warned himself in his heart that he would rest as long as he succeeded once. As a result, he spent the whole night refining. This night finally made him realize that the key recovering pill, which required ordinary medicinal materials and had only mediocre effects, could be a third-grade pill. The complexity of the refining process and the huge loss of soul power were what he had never expected before refining. Can't refine it? Yao Lao smiled and floated out from behind Yang Fan. Such a result seemed to be within Yao Lao's expectations. Why did he choose key recovering pill, a cumbersome and useless pill, for Yang Fan to refine? Tempering the little guy's temper was one aspect, but of course there was something more important. Here, a brown pill suddenly appeared in Yang Fan's palm. Key recovering pill. It was a little bit worse in appearance, but God will not let down those who work hard. The cool breeze in the early morning opened his mind. Not bad, not bad. Yao Lao's eyes were already wrinkled with joy. This kid gave him another surprise in cultivation. Do you think this is the end? Focus on your inner gaze and feel your physical condition. Yang Fan did as he was told. He just closed his eyes, but suddenly got shocked. Master, I have found the bottleneck of Daoshi. Yes. Yang Fan really felt that layer of barrier, and a subtle change occurred in his body. His body told him that, as long as he broke through this layer of barrier, he could condense Daoqi gauze and liquidize Daoqi. Congratulations, little guy. You are about to become a real Daoshi. Yang Fan was happy. Yao Lao was also smiling. He brought Yang Fan out of Yunluo City just to watch this kid become stronger step by step. Master, when can I start to break through? To be honest, Yang Fan couldn't wait any longer. He was eager to know what the Daoqi gauze he condensed would look like. Don't worry. Feel your soul power first. Surprises always come so suddenly. Yang Fan was surprised to find that his soul power was significantly stronger than last night. Yao Lao once said that this was a breakthrough from quantitative change to qualitative change. After the battle in the Soul Beast Forest and the Alchemy, your fighting spirit and soul power have been significantly improved. It doesn't matter whether the soul power affects the fighting spirit or the improvement of fighting spirit affects the soul power. Yao Lao's heart can only be described in 2 words, relieved. Master, can I absorb the third soul ring? Yao Lao nodded. As long as I successfully break through the bottleneck of the fighter. The present is different from the past. As long as Yang Fan successfully breaks through the fighter, his soul power will rise to a higher level with his strength. It can be said that it is a foolish dream to impact the 4th grade alchemist, but the soul power required to absorb the 10,000-year soul ring is completely sufficient. Thank you, Master. Although he had been refining the key recovering pill all night, Yang Fan was not sleepy at all at this moment. Chapter 56, 1000 Years of Killing. Master, please measure your soul power and tell me how many people are outside now? Yang Fan closed his eyes and concentrated. An invisible energy spread out with him as the center. He was surprised to find that the range of 300 meters seemed to be present in his consciousness, and this distance was still increasing. This is the change after the qualitative change of soul power. In the past, his soul power could only cover a range of 100 meters at most, and the farther the distance, the more vague it became. A total of 32 people. Yang Fan gave an accurate number. Yao Lao asked again, where are they? 2 on the roof on the left, 5 in the room. Yang Fan accurately output the specific location of 28 of them, and only vague auras could be detected beyond the range of 300 meters. Not bad. Yao Lao nodded with satisfaction. Yang Fan's current soul power is far from that of a 4th grade alchemist, but fortunately he has already walked at the forefront of his peers. Even those genius alchemists in the Douluo Continent may not have such a strong soul power at Yang Fan's age. Master, about my breakthrough. Yang Fan smiled embarrassedly. Don't be so anxious, brat. Before you break through, you must be fully prepared. If you fail, you will lose your life. Yao Lao said unhappily. What? There is a risk of death if you fail to break through? Yang Fan heard this from Yao Lao for the first time, and his heart trembled. What do you think? Failure to break through is not just a matter of lowering your cultivation. Once the fighting spirit goes against the flow, you will suffer from hidden diseases, go crazy, or even end your life. Yao Lao did not lie about this matter. The number of fighting masters who died because of failure to break through on the fighting spirit continent is not too many, but it is definitely not a small number. Yang Fan's face suddenly became solemn. Think about it. Cultivation is against the will of heaven, so it is normal to die on the road. Then what do I need to prepare? A quiet environment for breakthrough, and your best condition. What about pills? Pills. Yao Lao's teachings hit Yang Fan's head directly. Pills. Pills. Be careful not to become a medicine jar if you take pills all day long. This time it depends on you. Is there any pill that can increase the success rate of breaking through to the Daoshi? The answer is definitely yes. But Yao Lao didn't plan to give it to Yang Fan this time. First of all, he didn't want Yang Fan to use pills to solve problems when he encountered them. Today, the problem can be easily solved with pills, but what about tomorrow, when the problem cannot be solved by pills? Pills are only auxiliary products on the road of cultivation, and they must not be dominant. The second point is that Yao Lao has confidence in Yang Fan. This confidence is based on all aspects of Yang Fan's performance. The next day, Yang Fan set off with a large Xuantian ruler on his back, heading to the Sunset Forest. After thinking about it, the environment for breakthrough should still be placed in the Soul Beast Forest. Although the Soul Beast Forest is dangerous, it is more suitable for breakthroughs than the noisy outer town. The breakthrough of a fighter master is similar to the tribulation of a cultivator. Although a fighter's breakthrough to a fighter master will not attract thunder, it is definitely not as simple as farting. Once there is a real movement, it will attract the attention of soul masters. Master, there seems to be someone behind us. Before he finished speaking, Yang Fan took a step to the side and hid his body behind a big tree, surrounded by several people, while using soul power to cover up his breath. Found it? In fact, he realized it when he just entered the Sunset Forest. But he didn't take it seriously. The Soul Beast Forest does not belong to anyone. If you go in, I will go in. However, half a day has passed, and the two soul masters behind him are still following. This is unreasonable. Can you sense who the other party is? Yang Fan tried it, and his face suddenly changed. Elephant Armor Sect? Little guy's not simple, you can sense this. This made Yang Fan's old face blush. With his current soul power in this position, he can only sense that someone is following him, but what really makes him sure of the other party's identity is the other party's huge size. Such a huge size plus the recent involvement with him, the answer is about to come out. The Soul Master of the Elephant Armor Sect followed him. Why? Could it be that the Elephant Armor Sect already knew that Hu Yang died at his hands? Yang Fan's head was buzzing. The first thing he was worried about was not his current situation, but the Poe clan. If his identity as the Poe clan was not exposed, it would be fine, but if it was exposed, it would mean that the Poe clan would go to war with the Elephant Armor Sect. Yang Fan tightly grasped the Xuantian ruler and quietly waited for the Soul Master of the Elephant Armor Sect to come over. Where is the person? He was still there just now. He should be in front. Let's not follow too close. Do you think this person is the guy who killed our elders? Keep your voice down. I tell you it's better not, otherwise both of us might be in trouble. The two were also afraid. However, the sect leader Hu Yansan had already issued a death order to find out the real murderer who killed the sect elders. How could ordinary people like them dare to resist? The two of them also found out that Yang Fan frequently moved around in the outskirts of the town, so they followed him quietly while sending a message to Hu Yanzhen. At this moment, a sneak attack. Yang Fan rushed out from the dark with a Xuantian ruler in his hand and slapped one of the burly soul masters in the face. In an instant, the diamond mammoth soul master's mouth and nose were bleeding, and the whole person was knocked over. His teeth fell out of his throat. Bang! Seeing this, another soul master released his martial spirit in a panic. 2 yellow and 2 purple. The standard ratio of soul ancestor. However, before he could release his defensive soul skills, Yang Fan's Xuantian ruler had already chopped down. The fighting spirit surged like a wave, and the surrounding air was squeezed to make a sharp whistle. The wide ruler hit the head of the diamond mammoth soul master with a muffled bang, and the power of the earth level fighting skills instantly killed the diamond mammoth soul master. Woo, ah, the collapsed nose and broken teeth made the other surviving soul master unable to utter a complete sentence. Raw, the diamond mammoth soul master knew that, if he turned around and ran away, he would have no chance of survival. He chose to fight. The first 3 soul rings on his body lit up at the same time. A thick layer of khaki cuticle appeared on the surface of the sturdy and strong body, and at the same time an invisible breath firmly locked Yang Fan. This is the standard soul skill of the diamond mammoth. The first 2 are to enhance its own super defense, and the third soul skill is to make up for the speed shortcoming of the Millennium Suppression kill. Go to hell. The diamond mammoth soul master jumped high, and then slammed heavily towards the bottom. This is the essence of the Millennium Suppression kill. Use the diamond mammoth soul master's extraordinary weight to deal with the opponent. 1000 years of suppression kill. When he took out the 1000 years of kill, how should you deal with it? The next second, the soul breaking spear, which represents pure attack, has appeared in Yang Fan's hand. Chapter 57. Tang San is deeply shocked. 2 purple soul rings flashed on Yang Fan's body. Break, penetrate. The amplification brought by the 2 soul skills made the tip of the soul breaking spear spray out orange-red flames more than a foot long. Yang Fan's body turned like lightning, and the fighting spirit in his body also quietly circulated at this moment. Driven by his body, the soul breaking spear in his hand stabbed fiercely diagonally upward, chasing stars, grasping fire. There is probably no fighting skill more suitable for the soul breaking spear than this. The diamond mammoth soul master in midair saw this scene and his anus became tense. He saw it, but there was an indescribable helplessness. Flexibility itself is the biggest shortcoming of the diamond mammoth soul master, and in the absence of being able to borrow power in midair, the only thing he can do is wait for fate to come. Swish, the sound of the sharp blade entering the body. The diamond mammoth soul master didn't even have time to enjoy the sour moment, and the gushing blood meant the end of life. Yang Fan didn't dare to stay. After killing these 2 soul masters, he erased all traces that could expose his identity and left quickly. After doing all this, since these 2 spirit masters are suspicious of him, they will definitely not be the only 2 who followed him rashly. However, from the conversation between the 2 just now, it is not difficult to hear that the Elephant Armor sect has not confirmed that he is the murderer of Hu Yanhei and has not dragged the spearhead to the Poe clan. He can continue to practice with peace of mind. On the other side, an unknown shabby village outside Soto City. If you don't make a special visit, it is hard to believe that there is a Spirit Master Academy in such a remote place. What is even more difficult to understand is that there are students in this Spirit Master Academy that seems to have no funds, no facilities, and no registration qualifications. Xiaogang, you said this is Tang Heo's son? The middle-aged man with black-framed glasses standing in front of the bed is Flanders, the dean of Shrek Academy. He heard part of the ins and outs of Tang Heo's hammering to death Kayang Sunji from gossip. This made Flanders look at Tang San twice more. Yes. His name is Tang San, and he is Tang Heo's son. For 3 whole days, they had just rushed all the way from the Sunset Forest to Soto City. Yu Xiaogang came to Flanders without wasting a moment. Don't just stand there. Take a quick look at Xiao San's current injuries, and what should we do? Flanders' expression was stern. He naturally understood the seriousness of the matter. Tang Heo asked Yu Xiaogang to help take care of the child, but it had only been a year, and he was almost killed. If Tang Heo knew about this, wouldn't he have beaten his good brother to death? Flanders frowned, and after a moment he said heavily, the injury is very serious. He might have a hidden disease. How can I not understand the seriousness of the matter? I want to ask if you have any way to save him. Hidden disease. This means that, no matter how talented a spirit master is, he will miss the opportunity to become a strong man. Yu Xiaogang would never allow this to happen. At the beginning, he did want to use Tang San's innate full spirit power and twin spirits to prove his 10 core theories of spirits. However, after 2 years, even raising a dog has become emotional. More importantly, Yu Xiaogang didn't want Tang Heo to hand his son to him as a genius, but he would become a waste when he returned. Xiaozin. Feed this kid to sugar beans first. The fat middle-aged man standing next to him was the only food-type Soul Emperor of Shrek Academy. Xiaozin's sugar beans are mainly used to increase speed, strength, restore soul power, etc., but they do not have the function of healing. However, something is better than nothing. Flanders could only choose to feed to sugar beans first to try to make Tang San's current situation look better. Can you force the dark energy out of Tang San's body? Yu Xiaogang was very anxious now. He had no strength, otherwise he would not have come to Flanders for help. Are you sure Tang Heo can't find it now? Flanders could, but he was a little afraid. With his current soul saint strength, it is indeed not difficult to force out these 6 dark energies. If it was a child from an ordinary family, he would have done it casually, but Tang San happened to be Tang Heo's son. It would be a happy thing if it was forced out smoothly, but nothing is absolutely 100%. What if I can find it, will I still come to you? You do it. If something goes wrong, it's my responsibility. Tang Heo won't blame you. Flanders laughed. That's what he said, but if something really goes wrong, will that fool Tang Heo care about it? He and Yu Xiaogang can't run away. Despite this, Flanders still decided to save Tang San. Not for anything else. Just to prevent his old friend from being beaten to death by Tang Heo. Wuji, Xiaozin, you stay and help. Xiaogang, you can go out. Without saying anything, he pushed Yu Xiaogang out of the room. At this time, a great spirit master was an eyesore inside. Boss, are we really going to force this kid to use his dark energy? Zhao Wuji has a nickname on Douluo Continent, Akala. It was because of this title that he offended countless enemies and finally fled to this small village to live in seclusion. If he offended Tang Heo again this time, he really wouldn't have to live. Xiaozin also had concerns, but he didn't say anything. Fuck. Xiaozin, give me 2 candles. Things went very smoothly. It only took a few minutes for Flanders to force the dark energy out of Tang San's body. This kid is lucky. This is also because Tang San's body is good. Otherwise he might really leave some unknown hidden disease in his body. Tang San slowly opened his eyes, and the first thing he saw was the vicissitudes of his teacher Yu Xiaogang's old face. Teacher, I lost. Tang San felt very frustrated. This not only made him lose a coveted spirit ring, but also a heavy blow to his Tao heart. He had been in Notting College for the past 2 years and originally thought that he was already the best among his peers, but after coming out, he knew that there is always someone better than you. It doesn't matter. The strength of that spirit master is stronger than you. Yu Xiaogang also realized that his judgment was wrong. A spirit master can defeat Tang San without opening his martial spirit, so it is absolutely impossible for him to have only 1 ring. Maybe what that person said at the time was right, and what he needed was not a spirit ring, but Yu Xiaogang couldn't figure out what a useless ghost vine could do. Douluo Continent is full of strong people. You are far beyond your peers to have such a cultivation at your age. Flanders, Zhao Wuji and others standing nearby agreed with this statement. With full innate soul power and reaching the 2nd ring at the age of 8, such a cultivation progress is brilliant in the entire Douluo Continent. However, Tang San shook his head. Maybe others still think he is a genius, but he no longer thinks so. In the Battle of Sunset's Forest, there was a moment when he saw half of the face under the black cloak. That half of the face was very childish. It was completely half of a face of the same age as him. Chapter 58. The old man is very bad. Xiaogang, what are your plans next? Tang San's dark energy has been forced out, and he only needs to rest for another half a month before he can practice normally. To be honest, Flanders is impressed by Tang San's talent. Twin martial spirits, innate full spirit power, and the first weapon spirit in Douluo Continent. This top configuration is also brilliant even among those who are called young geniuses. If he can become a student in his Shrek Academy, go back. Go back. Flanders was like an old hen with its feathers blown off. What are you going to do when you go back? Isn't it good to be with us old friends? Even if you don't do it for yourself, you should do it for Tang San, right? Just helping this kid get the second spirit ring has turned out like this. Then how are you going to deal with the third and fourth spirit rings later? Continue to let him get the 100-year spirit ring. Tang San was able to save his life this time, so will he be so lucky next time? Flanders is very sure that Yu Xiaogang can never train Tang San into a super strong man by himself. It's not just because his own strength can't help Tang San get the spirit ring. There are also many things that are not recorded in books. For example, when absorbing a 10,000-year spirit ring, it will cause a strong impact on the spirit. If a spirit master who absorbs a 10,000-year spirit ring for the first time is not careful, he may be backlashed and become a fool. For example, how can a spirit master prolong this state under the spirit body, and how to quickly get through the weak period after the spirit body ends. These are the experiences of spirit masters. These are more important to spirit masters than the theoretical knowledge in books, but Yu Xiaogang doesn't have them. Yu Xiaogang was silent. After all, he is only a 29 level great spirit master, and even the mutated spirit makes him not even have the combat power of a great spirit master. It's not that he hasn't thought about this problem. It's just that he doesn't accept it. Yu Xiaogang's original idea was to cultivate a super strong man without the help of anyone, but this failure and Tang San's injury made him feel that his idea was so naive. Don't you always want to prove your 10 core theories of martial spirit? If Tang San doesn't have the opportunity to become a strong man, what can you prove to the world? Xiaogang, stay. Faced with Flanders' soft and hard tactics, Yu Xiaogang's heart has begun to waver. But if he stays like this Xiaogang, I have also accepted a disciple now. His name is Mahanjan. This kid's martial spirit is a mutant fire phoenix, but the mutation is not complete, and there are big flaws in his martial spirit. I hope you can stay and help me think of a way. We brothers can open a school here together. This is undoubtedly the best step for Yu Xiaogang. He agreed. For himself, for Tang San, and for the 10 core theories of martial spirit. In a few days, you have to take my disciple to the Soul Beast Forest to obtain the second soul ring. Although Tang San did not leave a hidden disease, which injury of a soul master would really not affect his cultivation, resting for half a month at the best time for cultivation is actually consuming talent. Yu Xiaogang knew that he could not wait any longer. He must let Tang San obtain his second soul ring as soon as possible, and it must be a plant-type soul beast ghost vine. On the other side, Yang Fan finally completed his breakthrough in a cave somewhere in the Sunset Forest. He is a Daoshi. Daoki gauze clothes. Yang Fan looked at the silky Daoki surrounding his body, which made him feel like he was wearing a piece of silk. At the same time, he only needed to exert force, and the Daoki in his palm would form a ball of liquid. This feeling is really good. He could clearly feel that all the attributes of strength, soul, and speed in his body had been improved to a higher level. This is completely a qualitative change in the dimension of cultivation. According to the Douluo cultivation system, the next great Daoshi can condense Daoki armor in front of him. That is, gather ki into a solid state. And the great Daoshi also has the ability to release Daoki, and then he can use the flame dividing wave ruler to exert its true power. Master, I want to get the third soul ring. Well, it's okay. Yang Fan clenched his fists. This day has finally come. He tortured Feng Su for half a year, just to wait for a day, just to get a black soul ring representing 10,000 years. After you obtain the third soul ring, we, the master and the disciple, will also need to change our faces and continue to live. Yang Fan understood Yao Lao's intention instantly. Yes. Now the elephant armor sect is looking for him all over the world. Although his specific identity is still unknown, Yang Fan feels that he can only show up at noon if he carries a black ruler in the Sunset Forest. No. Silly boy, get up quickly. Yang Fan heard that his whole body was like a spring, and the Xuantian ruler was tightly held in both hands. Master, what's wrong? Yao Lao is usually in a casual state, and occasionally does something disrespectful to the elderly. Such a solemn attitude is extremely rare. Could it be that Hu Yansin brought people from the elephant armor sect to trap him? The next second, Yao Lao's serious expression was replaced by a hint of joy. Little guy, we, the master and the disciple, are lucky. As soon as the voice fell, Yang Fan already felt something approaching, and in the blink of an eye, a python as thick as an arm appeared in his field of vision, walking close to the ground. No, it's a vine. Only when he got closer did Yang Fan see clearly what kind of vines were. Holy soul grass. A tonic that can repair the soul, and it is also one of the medicinal materials for refining the soul repairing pill of Yao Lao. Because holy soul grass is a tonic that can repair the soul, this plant type soul beast is particularly interested in things related to the soul. It must be the soul power released by him after the breakthrough that attracted this soul beast here. He said it. Yao Lao usually would not have such a big emotional fluctuation. Master, what should I do? He now has some experience in fighting soul beasts, but he has little experience in dealing with a top level medicinal material with aggressiveness. Go ahead and find the melon. If I'm not mistaken, this holy soul grass has reached 10,000 years. Go up and find its roots. Yang Fan rushed forward after hearing this. The heavy Xuantian ruler left a deep and shallow scratch on the ground. In a few breaths, Yang Fan rushed out more than 200 meters along the vine. The vine, which was as thick as a wrist just now, has now become as thick as a thigh. Yang Fan is sure that the holy soul grass is in front of him. The essential difference between plant type soul beasts and animal type soul beasts is that the former can only control the vines, but cannot move the body. So it is easier to deal with. Although it is said that a 10,000 year soul beast is equivalent to a human soul king, that is to say ordinary animal type soul beasts. Plant type soul beasts are naturally relatively weaker. With his current strength as a fighting master, it should not be difficult to deal with it. A thick vine rose from the ground and pulled over at lightning speed. Yang Fan was quick-eyed and quick-handed, swinging the Xuantian ruler and smashing it hard. With a dull bang, Yang Fan's body flew back 5 or 6 meters and fell heavily to the ground. It's not 10,000 years. This is not a 10,000 year soul beast at all. The old man is very bad. Chapter 59. How to obtain soul bones. It hurts. Although the thick vines hit the Xuantian ruler, the violent vibration still made Yang Fan see stars. Judging from the force of the blow, Yang Fan dared to assert that this holy soul grass must be at least 15,000 years old. He little guy, you need to practice your adaptability more. While speaking, Yao Lao used the bone spirit cold fire in his palm to force back all the surrounding vines. It was you who lied to me. The look in Yao Lao's deep eyes changed slightly. Yes. Yang Fan did not doubt his words at all, so he was attacked by the holy soul grass. He stroked Yang Fan's head with his empty old hand and said, except for your grandfather, you must be more careful about anyone you meet in the future, understand? At this moment, Yao Lao thought of his past again. Master, I can trust you. Yao Lao's old eyes turned red, and his fighting spirit shook. He said, if you delay, something will happen. Hurry up and make this holy soul grass ours. Yao Lao wanted to do it himself, but Yang Fan spoke at this time. Master, I want to give it a try. Every time a soul beast increases its strength by 1,000 years, it will undergo a qualitative change. Even a 15,000 year old soul beast, even a plant type 1, has already possessed the strength of a soul king. If it was before, he might not be able to deal with it. But now he is a real fighting master. Can't he still kill a soul king? Go. With Yao Lao's permission, Yang Fan rushed up dragging the Xuantian ruler. When he passed through a dense bush, he was instantly shocked by the scene in front of him. Did you tell him that this was grass? In front of him was a tree that required at least 10 people to hug. The diameter of the tree was not proportional to its height, which made its height of more than 30 meters look inconspicuous. And right above this ancient tree was a vine that covered the sky and the sun, and it looked like a huge cauliflower. The bottom of the 10,000 years holy soul grass has formed a rhizome as thick as a wrist. It is the core of all its energy sources, and also the medicinal materials we need for alchemy this time. Remember not to damage it. These words made Yang Fan feel relieved. If such a huge herb is refined into an elixir, he dare not imagine how big the alchemy furnace will be needed. At this time, feeling threatened, the holy soul grass moved without wind, and the thick vines instantly danced in the air, like a huge python with bared fangs and claws. In a flash, countless vines smashed down at Yang Fan. Faced with so many vine attacks, Yang Fan instantly changed his fighting style. He put the Xuantian ruler into the storage soul guide, and used his agile steps to move between the gaps between the vines. While dodging, he did not forget to use the flames rising from his palms to sow hot seeds on the vines. Flame is the natural nemesis of plant-type soul beasts. The fairy grass fire given to Yang Fan by the fiery apricot is a natural suppression of the holy soul grass. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen vines were already on fire. The holy soul grass hung the thick vines high in the air, and then smashed them down violently, trying to extinguish the flames on them in this way. It underestimated the stickiness of the fire of the immortal grass. This operation not only failed to extinguish the flames, but the rapid flow of air even spread the fire, and ignited several vines next to it. The vines of the holy soul grass were waving in the air. It had lived for 10,000 years, and probably had never encountered an opponent like Yang Fan who did not follow martial ethics. At this time, the holy soul grass used the unburned vines to tightly wrap around the roots of the ignited vines, and then pulled them hard. Although this approach would cause the holy soul grass to lose its own strength, it undoubtedly also resolved the fate of being burned out. The vines with ignited roots smashed down towards Yang Fan. While he was dodging, the holy soul grass tightly wrapped the vines around the roots like a twist, forming thick vines that two people could barely hug. In an instant, it smashed down towards Yang Fan. Yang Fan's choice was very decisive and bold. He did not retreat but advanced. The speed after being promoted to a fighting master allowed him to reach the most central position of the root of the holy soul grass in the blink of an eye. Feel the power of the Xuan level fighting skills. Yang Fan punched the root of the holy soul grass with a heavy punch, and the eightfold dark energy acted on the trunk in an instant. This was the first time he used the 8 extreme collapse. After being promoted to a fighting master, Yang Fan had not even thought about it, and had already perfectly played the 8 extreme dark energy. This was a completely natural thing. Crack crack. Although the plant type soul beast did not express emotions like the animal type soul beast, Yang Fan could feel its pain. No matter how big this behemoth was, it was only a 15,000-year-old soul beast after all. 8 extreme collapse. Yang Fan was not a person who liked to torture his opponents. He went up and decisively solved the life of the holy soul grass with a punch. The surface of this tree, that covered the sky and the sun, still looked green, but Yang Fan knew it was dead. The soul-breaking spear was summoned in his hand, and Yang Fan stabbed it at the cheaper part of the root. The exploration of soul power allowed him to quickly find the core rhizome that Yao Lao mentioned. After Yang Fan successfully took it out, he found that the so-called rhizome was not big. It looked more like a peeled bamboo shoot in his hand. That's it. Let's leave quickly. Any disturbance in the soul beast forest is likely to cause a change, especially when Yang Fan is being targeted by the elephant armor sect. To put it bluntly, the soul beast forest is a place where martial ethics are not respected. You can intercept other people's things, but others may also be preparing to take advantage of you in the dark. Yang Fan did not dare to stay. After taking the essence of refining medicine from the holy soul grass, he decisively ran away. He ran out for about an hour, and stopped when he came to a stream. After his breath slowed down, he took out the rhizome of the holy soul grass he had just obtained from the soul guide. It is hard to imagine that this unremarkable and unprepossessing wooden lump is actually a medicinal material for refining and repairing the soul. Yang Fan carefully put it away. The holy soul grass is here. The whereabouts of the 9th grade ginseng king are also known. The most important and most difficult thing to find is a spiritual skull. Yao Lao had told him before that the essence of refining soul repairing pills depends entirely on the age of the spirit skull. The higher the age, the stronger the quality of the pills refined, and the better the effect on the soul repair will be. Regarding the clues of the spirit skull, Yang Fan actually has an idea. the Continental Soul Master Academy Elite Competition. If his crossing has not yet formed a butterfly effect on the entire continent, then a 60,000-year-old spirit skull will appear at the Soul Master Academy Elite Competition 6 years later. There are only 2 ways he can think of to get this soul bone. Chapter 60, Obtaining the Third Soul Ring. The first method is to participate in the Soul Master Academy Elite Competition. If you participate in the Soul Master Academy Elite Competition, the first thing to do is to find a decent Soul Master Academy and then follow it all the way to win the championship. With his current strength, he can support this method, but it is also very dangerous. The Soul Master Academy competition is different from the soul fighting competition. One of the rules is that you cannot use weapons other than the spirit. This is not a big deal. He should have no problem using these 6 years to learn a few barehanded fighting skills to successfully win the championship. However, blatantly snatching a soul bone under the nose of the spirit hall will inevitably attract the attention of the spirit hall. With the power of this organization in Douluo Continent, even if the soul breaking gun is not used throughout the process, his identity will be exposed within half a day. He must admit this. Then, not only him, but the entire soul breaking clan will become the target of the spirit hall's attention. The second method is not to participate in the Soul Master Academy Elite Competition. If nothing unexpected happens, this soul bone will fall into Tang San's hands. If you snatch this soul bone from Tang San, you will inevitably have to pass Tang Heo. How easy is it? Another chance is to kill Tang San when he leaves Yuxun and goes to the Soul Beast Forest to find Tang Heo, but that will be 8 years later. 8 years. This method obviously won't work. 8 years is too long. He only cares about the day. In addition, Yang Fan thought of another way. He can attack Shrek. Tang San has the protection of Sun Douluo, but the others don't. Damu Bei and Zhu Zuking, who are far away in a foreign country, Oscar and Mahanjan, who are from civilian backgrounds, there is no need to kill them. As long as they have diarrhea before the Soul Master Academy competition, the champion will fall into the hands of the Spirit Hall, and the head soul bone that the Spirit Hall originally intended to give to Hulina can be regarded as just right. Hulina, who has not been hit, will not go to the Slaughter City. It seems that this won't work. As a saint, Hulina must be protected by a titled Douluo. It is not easy to kill her. Yang Fan scratched his head frantically. It is difficult to get this 60,000-year-old soul bone. But if he knew that a 60,000-year-old spiritual head soul bone would appear in a few years, he would have to watch it fall on Tang San or Hulina. He was very annoyed. He sat there from the afternoon until the evening and couldn't think of a way to break the situation. The breeze blew, and Yang Fan came to his senses from his meditation. If he couldn't think of it, he simply didn't think about it. Anyway, he still had 6 years to try. What he had to do now was to add a 10,000-year-old third soul ring to himself. There was no need to consider the attributes of the soul ring. Yao Lao had said before that the path chosen by the ancestors of the Puyi clan was very correct, and there was nothing wrong with the spear-type martial spirit taking the extreme attack route. If there was anything, it was that the Puyi clan had never had a titled Douluo to prove the power of the Puyo Soul Spear martial spirit. Shrek Academy. Yu Xiaogang finally decided to stay in this shabby little village outside Soto City without even discussing it with Tang San. Tang San, whose parents had lost contact, naturally had no objection, but when he got the news, he still felt a little uneasy. Teacher, do I need to tell the dean? He already knows. Don't we need to explain to him if we leave like this? What you need to do now is to concentrate on your cultivation, not to think about other things. How could Yu Xiaogang not guess what Tang San was thinking? This kid just couldn't let go of that little girl named Xiao Wu. However, the two of them were not old enough to do such things at the moment. What about his age? He was still torn apart by 2 failed relationships. Teacher, I know. Tang San agreed verbally, but in his heart he had already made up his mind to write a letter to Xiao Wu to tell her about the current situation. The master and apprentice chatted for a while before Yu Xiaogang was called away by Flanders. Xiaogang, do you have any way to solve the evil fire problem of Mahanjan? Yu Xiaogang's face changed instantly when he heard this. The day after Tang San's dark energy was forced out, he checked Mahanjan's physical condition. After a series of theories, he could only draw the conclusion that Ma Hongzhen's mutation was incomplete. Even so, Yu Xiaogang was envious. Others were chickens that turned into fire phoenixes, while he was a dragon that turned into a pig. Why don't you say something? Yu Xiaogang was silent for a moment, and finally spoke. The problem with Ma Hongzhen is more troublesome. Let me check more information. On the surface, he is a master of theory, but in fact he is a wild fox Zen. All theoretical viewpoints are taken from existing books and then sorted together so that he can have a jibber-martial soul research. Then you should hurry up. This time, Wu Ji and I will take Tang San to the Soul Beast Forest to hunt soul rings, so you don't have to go. Study the problem of Ma Hongzhen in the academy. Yu Xiaogang nodded in agreement. A great soul master can't play a bit of a role in the Soul Beast Forest, and even becomes a burden in the team. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, another month has passed. Yang Fan is already 8 years old. It also means that he has been away from the Puyi clan for 2 years. From when he just came out, he was born with full soul power and wanted to become a strong man with a passion. Now he has become a fighting master and is working hard for his 3rd soul ring. Yang Fan stood on the top of the mountain and put down the Xuantian ruler in his hand. With a muffled sound, the Xuantian ruler was embedded in the rock for more than an inch. At this time, he felt his legs go weak. Yang Fan always believed that Dao Qi was more difficult to cultivate than soul power, except when looking for soul beasts. When people are not good, they are really unstoppable. For a whole month, he has not encountered a decent 10,000-year soul beast in the Sunset's forest. If this continues, he is ready to move to the Stardao Great Forest to try his luck. Master, how about using that trick? Yao Lao nodded. At first, Yao Lao refused. Using this method to attract soul beasts is a good way, but no one can guarantee what kind of soul beast is attracted. What if it is too strong? However, after a month of tempering, Yao Lao's weathered temperament was also worn out a little. The next second, a large light red flower appeared in Yao Lao's hand. It was the fragrant Kilo fairy product they brought out from the yin yang eye of ice and fire. The original novel mentioned that the precious aura of this immortal herb could attract the surrounding soul beasts, and this theory was also confirmed by Yao Lao. After a month of unsuccessful attempts, the master and apprentice decided to take a risk and give this method a try. Chapter 61. Promotion to Soul Master. Attracting soul beasts is no joke. Yang Fan first found a hilltop with steep terrain and wide view, and then completely exposed the Yaoxiang Kilo immortal product to the air. If nothing goes wrong, the treasure of the Yaoxiang Kilo immortal product will gradually attract the surrounding soul beasts. At this time, Yang Fan suddenly remembered a sentence. High-end hunters. Everything is ready, and the rest is to be on guard. Although this method can attract powerful soul beasts, it also has considerable risks. Whether the soul beasts coming are too powerful or not powerful enough, they cannot meet Yang Fan's current needs. Therefore, no matter what, luck has a certain component. The temptation of the Yaoxiang Kilo immortal product is greater than Yang Fan imagined. When he arranged everything for only a cup of tea, there were waves of swaying in the woods below the hilltop. Yang Fan is ready to go, but 200-year-old little foxes popped up. Not only that, when the 2 little foxes poked their heads out, the woods below the mountain began to gather one after another. At this time, Yao Lao was already floating above Yang Fan's head. An invisible soul force quickly spread from his body, covering hundreds of square meters in the blink of an eye. Wherever the soul force passed, the weak soul beasts were all frightened, and after they recovered, they began to flee. Yao Lao's simple move directly helped him to perfectly select the soul beasts. After about a cup of tea, there was movement again in the forest below the mountain. Yang Fan's weak soul power told him that there must be more than one soul beast attracted by the Yaoxiang Kilo immortal product. These soul beasts approached at a steady pace, as if they had agreed on it. Silly boy, your soul ring is here. As soon as Yao Lao finished speaking, a black leopard emerged from the woods. Ghost leopard. Yang Fan's eyes lit up. The size of this ghost leopard was more than 5 meters, and it was definitely a 10,000-year-old ghost leopard. Many ordinary soul masters without sect backgrounds believed that ghost leopards were only suitable for quick attack soul masters. In fact, it was not. The ghost leopard is a powerful soul beast that combines speed and attack. Speed can give it stronger offensiveness, while powerful attack makes it unstoppable in speed. The two can be said to complement each other. At the beginning, the entire Shrek team barely killed a 3,000-year ghost leopard, which is enough to prove that this soul beast has a strong attack. Silly boy, don't stand there. Hurry up and put away your fairy herb. Yao Lao's reminder woke Yang Fan from his beautiful fantasy. Looking up, there were at least 5 soul beasts in the woods below the mountain, and each of them was over 10,000 years old. The strongest one was at least 30,000 years old. Yao Lao took action. The powerful soul power burst out, and the surrounding air seemed to solidify in an instant. The shock of the soul made the soul beasts below the mountain wail, and the strong ones turned around and ran away, while the weaker ones had completely lost their ability to move under the impact of the soul. The 10,000-year ghost leopard that Yang Fan had been paying attention to was already lying on the ground twitching. Shocked. This is the strength of Yao Lao. This was the first time that Yang Fan saw that a powerful soul could easily cause harm. He put the Xuantian ruler into the storage soul guide and replaced it with a sharp dagger in his hand. He walked in front of the ghost leopard and slashed it down with his knife. There is a reason why civilian soul masters have no chance to make a name for themselves. Soul masters like him who have a sect and a powerful background have their elders to hunt soul beasts for them. What do civilians have? Many people have lost 2 others at the starting line after 10 years of first soul ring, and they still have 10 years when they reach the second soul ring. There is no hope for future cultivation. Silly boy, don't stand there. With Yao Lao guarding beside him, Yang Fan naturally didn't worry about anything. He sat cross-legged on the ground without any consumption, and his soul power was running. The soul-breaking spear was summoned in his palm. At this time, the 10,000-year soul ring seemed to be attracted by him and gradually approached. But a touch that stimulated the nerves made Yang Fan's body tremble violently. This feeling is very novel. It was something he didn't have when he absorbed the 1,000-year soul ring before. If I guessed correctly, this should be the soul vibration that only the 10,000-year soul ring can have. Yang Fan felt the unwillingness, resistance, and raw from the ghost leopard from this soul vibration. However, the soul vibration came unexpectedly and left without any preparation. The soul power that was constantly tempered through alchemy quickly suppressed the soul vibration of the ghost leopard. After it was completely refined by him, it was time for him to absorb the soul ring. Familiar and intimate. This scene seemed to have happened yesterday. Time passed by minute. When Yang Fan opened his eyes again, it was already the next morning. Purple, and black. 3 dazzling soul rings were moving on his body. Cool. Yang Fan stared at the 3 soul rings on his body that were different from ordinary people and became happier and happier. He wanted to ask, who wouldn't be confused by such a soul ring ratio? It's the only one. When the 3rd soul ring of a normal soul master was still struggling with the 1700-year limit, he had already put on a 10,000-year soul ring. How could he not be happy? But he also knew that such a soul ring ratio must not be known by anyone without sufficient strength, including the members of the Poe clan. Surprises came one after another. Yang Fan hadn't recovered from the abnormal soul ring configuration yet. He was surprised to find that his level had jumped after checking. Level 37? Yang Fan couldn't believe it and confirmed it again. Level 37 for sure. He had actually jumped to become a level 37 soul master. Yang Fan suddenly felt that it was all worth it for him to cry for his parents when he was tortured by the blood burning, to be chased like a dog by the soul beast, and to be exhausted by carrying the Xuantian ruler. If his grandfather knew that he had become a level 37 soul master after 2 years of practice, wouldn't he be happy to kneel down for him? After the excitement, Yang Fan suddenly felt that the soul power of level 37 was not high for him. The pills made from the 100,000-year-old blue silver emperor soul bone had already sent him to level 25. After that, he went to Xiandao city for a year of fighting spirit training. After that, he swallowed the fiery apricot delicate, the 2nd soul ring of 3,000 years, and the awakening pill that accelerated his training. Master, why am I only level 37? Could it be that all the supplements he took were absorbed by the fighting spirit in his body, causing malnutrition of the soul force spirit. Yao Lao's face darkened, and he raised his hand to hit him. Stinky boy, this is still low. 8-year-old fighting master. What the hell do you want? Yao Lao now feels that Yang Fan's level is rising too fast. If this continues, he is worried that this kid's foundation will be unstable, and he will become a useless person. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62, Qiandao City, meeting Huo Wu again. Yang Fan looked inside his body again. The 10,000-year ghost leopard provided him with a pretty good soul skill. The third soul skill, Flash. This soul skill provides him with 200% speed and 200% attack power. Double attribute bonus. It allows him to quickly approach the opponent while having high attack power. Grandpa once said that the soul-breaking spear soul master must have lightning speed and sharp attacks in battle and must defeat the opponent in a short time. Because the soul master who takes the extreme attack route is very afraid of protracted battles. Take it. Practice this first. Yang Fan, who had just been promoted to a fighting master, received a simple scroll. No need to guess. The one given by Yao Lao must be good. The simple scroll slowly opened, and a breath that had been silent for many years came to his nose. Low level of Zuan level? Yang Fan frowned slightly. This is a low level Zuan level fighting skill technique, and the content and introduction of the technique are engraved on the scroll. Blowing fire palm, low level of Zuan level, can create strong wind pressure, suitable for fire attribute fighting masters to practice. You little brat, you still look down on the low level of Zuan rank, don't you? With your current level of a 1-star Daoshi, you can only match the low level of Zuan rank. Although Yao Lao's words were meant to teach him, they were true. The higher the level of the Dao skill, the more Dao Ki it consumes. If it weren't for the fact that Yang Fan had taken a 6th grade blue silver soul bone pill, which caused his Dao Ki to recover at an unmatched speed, he would not have chosen to teach him the 2 high level Dao skills, Flame Dividing Wave Ruler and 8 Extreme Collapse. However, even today, Yang Fan still cannot use the true essence of these 2 Dao skills. No. Low level Zuan rank is also good. Yang Fan adheres to the attitude that more skills are better than less, and he absolutely believes in any arrangement made by Yao Lao on the road of cultivation. In fact, he also understands. After staying in the Sunset Forest for more than half a year, the Xuantian ruler has become his symbol. With the current enemy of the Elephant Armor sect, sometimes the Xuantian ruler is really not suitable to appear again. Although the blowing fire palm is a low-level Zuan level fighting skill, as long as it is practiced, its power is definitely not inferior to the 5th soul skill of a soul master. Yang Fan completely believed this. His mind moved slightly. When his soul power and the scroll were about to touch, the soul power engraved on the scroll instantly poured into Yang Fan's head. At this moment, the mystery of the blowing fire palm was fully presented in his head. A moment later, when Yang Fan withdrew his soul power, the blowing fire palm, a low-level Zuan level fighting skill, had been completely mastered by him. Give it a try. Yao Lao's expression showed a hint of expectation. Yang Fan's body trembled violently, and an orange-red flame rose from the palm of his hand, and then he slapped it forward. Bang! In an instant, a huge rock 10 meters away broke into pieces, and the debris flew. Not bad. It was not difficult for Yang Fan, who had already learned the Earth-level fighting skills, to practice the Zuan-level fighting skills. Yao Lao was not only satisfied with Yang Fan's learning ability, but also the power of this fighting skill. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is a Zuan-level intermediate fighting skill. When he was in Douluo Continent, someone held up this fighting skill and begged him to accept it. The purpose was to help refine a pill. It's a pity that this kind of superior treatment has never been seen again after coming to Douluo Continent. Blowing fire palm. Blowing fire palm. From this day on, Yang Fan took advantage of the situation and lived on the hillside of this city that was neither high nor low. Every day, he practiced. Although life seemed boring, Yang Fan was immersed in it and never tired of it. Time passed, and another 3 months passed. This day, Yang Fan stood outside the gate of Xiandao City. Without the cover of the Black Cloak, and without the blessing of the Xuantian ruler, he was completely a sunny boy. With the new outfit he bought when he passed by the city, don't say it. He really looks like a noble young man. Who would have thought that under this bright smile is a 38th level soul master and a 2-star fighting master. The rise in strength some time ago made Yao Lao feel a little uneasy, so he spent the past 3 months in the Soul Beast Forest. Yang Fan strode into Xiandao City. Without the suppression of the Xuantian ruler, he walked briskly. Yao Lao had said before that as his strength increased, the suppression effect of the Xuantian ruler on his fighting spirit would weaken, and he could only use it as a weapon in the future. Not only that, the foundation building spirit liquid and burning blood also gradually became a thing of the past as his strength increased. Xiandao City. This city is not unfamiliar to Yang Fan. After all, he has lived here for a year. Yang Fan's first destination is the largest medicine shop in Xiandao City. As a pharmacist, there is nothing more important than medicinal materials and alchemy furnaces. Little brother, what are you going to do? The medicine shop clerk did not look down on Yang Fan because of his age. Douluo Continent does not look at age, but identity and strength. Xiandao City is full of nobles. No one can guarantee that the next second he will meet is not a son of a big family. Yang Fan took out a prescription and slapped it on the counter while standing on his tiptoes. There were dozens of herbs written on the prescription, including some precious herbs such as polar hand and herb dew. Young master, do you want all these herbs? Yes. Yang Fan slapped all 50,000 gold soul coins on the counter. He had some savings from hunting soul beasts during his year of training in the Sunset Forest. All the money he had was enough to buy the prescription. Gurgle. The pharmacy clerk moved his throat and said, please wait a moment. Not long after, a middle-aged man who looked like a boss hurried over from the backstage. I don't know if the clerk told the boss about Yang Fan's age, but when the boss saw him, he was shocked. Then he greeted him with a smile. I'm the owner of this pharmacy. We have most of the herbs you want in our shop, but we don't have that much of the fire spirit root. In addition, the shop is also out of stock of the Huanga and Bloodheart Ganoderma. It's getting closer. Yang Fan could feel the fluctuation of the boss's soul power, but it was not strong, probably about the same as his. Give them all to me then. How could Yang Fan, who grew up in the Poyi clan, not know the scarcity of fire spirit roots? Sometimes his grandfather would even travel to 2 or 3 cities to find such a medicinal herb. As for the Huang Yanzus in ZHI, Yang Fan had not held any hope before he came in. Okay, I'll ask the clerk to prepare it for you now. Please wait a moment. The boss first counted the 50,000 gold soul coins that Yang Fan had placed on the counter, and because of the number of fire spirit roots and the shortage of Huang Yanzus in ZHI, he gave Yang Fan another 10,000. The transaction seemed to be going smoothly, but a group of people who came in a hurry broke the current situation. Boss, we want all the fire spirit roots here. These people were all wearing the fiery red uniforms of the Soul Master Academy, and the leader was Huo Wu. From the boss to the clerk, everyone's face changed subtly, and they even looked at Yang Fan at the same time. I'm so sorry. The fire spirit roots in our shop were bought by that customer just now. Huo Wu and Yang Fan looked at each other, both with complicated expressions. Chapter 63 Gambling. Is it you? If it was someone else, Huo Wu might have left obediently, because of the first come first served. However, Yang Fan was different. She recognized this guy. It was Yang Fan who was bid for the flame gentian grass at the Xiandao auction last time. Yang Fan's eyebrows jumped slightly. Damn. This woman actually still remembered him. He had only shown his true face twice in Xiandao City before, once at the auction, and the other time was also at the auction. Hey, last time at the Xiandao auction, I was not as rich as others. Can you give me half of the fire spirit root this time? Fire spirit root. This is a tonic that fire attribute soul masters often take after consuming soul power. It is not uncommon for people from Blazing Fire Academy to buy it. Yang Fan shook his head. People from Blazing Fire Academy need him to understand, but now he needs it more. Who can give in to whom on the road of cultivation? You can't have privileges just because you are a little bit beautiful. Yu Xiaogang rarely encounters obstacles in her family's life of being the center of attention. She frowned slightly, but because she was not right, she couldn't say anything. I see you are also a soul master. Why don't we go to the soul fighting field and fight? If you lose, sell us half of your fire spirit roots. If you win, our Blazing Fire Academy can provide you with some medicinal materials. Of course, we won't bully you. What level of soul master are you? Our Blazing Fire Academy will fight soul masters of the same level. Well reasoned. Yang Fan originally thought that Xiaowu was an unreasonable woman, but this statement really made people unable to find any fault. Then do you have Huanga and Bloodheart Ganoderma? Xiaowu's character changed instantly. Huanga and Bloodheart Ganoderma is a medicinal material that is more rare than fire spirit roots, and it is also one of the medicinal materials that some fire attribute soul masters from prominent families will take. From these two medicinal materials, Xiaowu has judged that Yang Fan is likely to be a fire attribute soul master. Don't you have it? Or don't you dare? As a veteran and strong team on Douluo Continent, could it be that Blazing Fire Academy has no reserves of fire attribute medicinal materials such as Huanga and Bloodheart Ganoderma? Yang Fan now only hopes that this fiery girl can ignite fighting spirit. Wait a minute. If we lose, we can sell you 2 brilliant flame Bloodheart Ganoderma. But if you lose, you need to sell us all the fire spirit roots here. Xiaowu was angered by Yang Fan's naked provocation, but she did not lose her mind. Deal. Yang Fan had already left, but such a request to stay was too kind for him to refuse. Then let's go to the fighting spirit arena now. According to your current level, we will fight against the opponent. Xiaowu's personality is as fiery as her martial spirit. Just do it. There is a kind of unrestrained and free and easy. No need. Let's stay here. Going to the fighting spirit arena will inevitably leave your identity and information, and will also be noticed by the audience watching the fighting spirit. Xiandao City is a mixed bag, with all kinds of people. Once you become a conspicuous person in this city, you are likely to expose yourself. I have just been promoted to a great soul master, and my strength should be about the same as yours. I will choose you. Yang Fan said. Here. With me? Xiaowu did not expect Yang Fan to choose the venue so casually, and he did not think of turning over her card. In the past, she would prepare her fighting spirit in advance, and then fight her opponent with real swords and guns on the stage. She had never experienced this kind of outdoor anytime and anywhere. Xiaogang originally wanted to stop his sister's impulsive behavior, but when he saw this, he said in his heart, it's stable. His sister is now a great soul master of level 28, and there are few opponents at the same level. Not only that, Xiaogang looked down on the nobles in the city, thinking that they were all embroidered pillows who inflated their levels through various auxiliary means. This is indeed the case. There are a lot of students in Xiandao Royal Academy who have never been to the fighting spirit field and the soul beast forest. Even so, when Yang Fan said that he was already a great soul master, Xiaogang was still surprised. Nobles who can inflate their levels so quickly are very rare in the entire Xiandao city. Are you ready? I'm coming. The owner of the medicine shop thought Yang Fan was just joking. Which guy with a hole in his head would choose to fight his soul in someone else's medicine shop? Don't you have to pay for the damaged medicinal materials? However, when Yang Fan's fighting spirit surged in his body, he knew what a reckless man was. Under Yang Fan's fierce attack, Xiaowu's fighting spirit was also ignited in an instant. A pair of long legs quickly moved towards Yang Fan, and with the shining of the soul ring, the flames on her body began to rise. When the two were less than 5 meters away, Yang Fan slapped out with a lightning palm. In an instant, the surrounding air was extremely distorted, and the mutual collision of energy gases produced a tooth-grinding sound. Seeing this, Xiaogan's calm heart instantly hung in his throat. The so-called bystander sees clearly. How could he, who was watching the battle from a distance, not see that his sister was going to suffer under this palm? However, before he could help her, his sister had already fallen heavily to the ground. You lose. I will go to Chihuahua Academy to get the Huanga and Bloodheart Ganoderma this afternoon. After saying this, Yang Fan took the herbs purchased from the medicine shop and left. It's so simple. He only used 3 levels of power to easily defeat Huo Wu. I still remember that when I fought with Huo Wu last time, this fiery girl caused him a lot of trouble. Sister, are you okay? Huo Wuxiang focused all his attention on his sister and was relieved to see that she was not injured. HMPH. Huo Wu punched the ground heavily, and the airwave generated made the shelves of the medicine shop jingle. It seemed that she wanted to vent all her unwillingness through this punch. This battle of souls was like a dream to her, and a special feeling of powerlessness filled her current mood. She didn't do anything, but she had already lost. Let's go back. Huo Wuxiang really saw how strong Yang Fan was. When he defeated Huo Wu, he didn't even cause damage to the shelves around the medicine shop, which means that the guy who just arrived is not simple. Where did he come from? First of all, the 5 elemental academies can be ruled out, and Xiandao Royal Academy is probably impossible. When Yu Xiaogang entered Xiandao Royal Academy 2 years ago, it was advertised for a whole half a year. If he is really a soul master of Xiandao Royal Academy, he is so awesome now. Huo Wuxiang can't think of it. But at present, his impression of the noble sons in Xiandao City has changed a little. It seems that the nobles are not all embroidered pillows. However, Huo Wuxiang never dared to think that Yang Fan's strength was not just that of a great soul master. Yes. Who on Douluo Continent would dare to believe that a child under 10 years old could be a great soul master? Chapter 64. Losing both the wife and the army. Blazing Fire Academy. A middle-aged man stood in the dean's office. The man was less than 1.7 meters tall, slightly fat, and had a slightly rough appearance. At first glance, the most eye-catching thing was his fiery red beard. In addition to the middle-aged man, there were also Huo Wu and Huo Wuxiang, who were lowering their heads in the dean's office. I told you to go to Xiandao City to buy the fire spirit root. I didn't buy the fire spirit root, and I paid 2 brilliant flame blood heart Ganoderma. Do you have a pig brain? The middle-aged man poked Huo Wuxiang's chest with his thick fingers, causing Huo Wuxiang to take 2 steps back. Dad, this is none of my business. I want to make a bet with others myself. The middle-aged man was the dean of Blazing Fire Academy and the father of Huo Wu and his sister. Name, Explosive. Level 73 Fire Attribute Soul Saint. Your sister wanted to fight with others, didn't you know to stop her? Now that something happened, you still need to ask your sister to take responsibility. How can you, as a brother, do that? The whole process lasted half an hour. Huo Wuxiang was scolded like a dog, while Huo Wu next to him was unharmed. Huo Bao started to ask, after he calmed down, who is the other party? There are not many soul masters of the same level in Xiandao City, including the 5 elemental academies, who can beat Huo Wu. There are no more than 5 of them. I don't know him. Huo Wu and his sister were also thinking about this question along the way. However, there was no answer. I don't know him? Could it be that he ran down from the mountain? The mountain that Huo Bao was talking about was the 3 upper sects of Haoshan, Landian, and Kubao. Because these 3 sects all live on the top of the mountain. Speaking of powerful soul masters on Douluo Continent, except for the Spirit Hall, only these 3 sects have a high probability of producing young geniuses. However, whether the spirit is from the Spirit Hall or the upper 3 sects, it is incredible for him that an 8 or 9-year-old child can beat Huo Wu. He doesn't believe it. Huo Bao still thinks that the 2 siblings made a wrong judgment on the age of their opponents. Dad, we'll know after we wait for that guy to come and test him. Although he doesn't have martial ethics, all is fair in war. Huo Wu also wants to know what kind of person she lost to, so that she can get back at him in the future. As soon as he finished speaking, the voice of the Dean of Studies of Chihuo Academy came from outside. Principal Huo, someone outside said that our Chihuo Academy owes 2 brilliant flame blood heart Ganoderma. Huo Bao was instantly excited. He didn't expect that the brat who defeated his daughter would come to his house so soon. He is so brave. Huo Bao walked out and was about to give this kid a warning, but he was stunned when he saw that it was a young man in his 20s. Is it him? There was no soul power detected in the skinny young man in front of him, and even his appearance and height were different from the opponent, described by the siblings. While Huo Wu shook her head in denial, the young man in front of him had already introduced himself. I'm a clerk at Xiandao Pharmacy. A customer said that your school has 2 brilliant flame blood heart Ganoderma that need to be sent to Xiandao City, so he asked me to come and get them. Yang Fan spent 10 gold coins to invite this person, because Yang Fan had long expected that he would be troubled if he came to Blazing Academy in person. To be honest, he was afraid. He was afraid that his identity would be recognized by Blazing Academy and then spread in Xiandao City. Where are the others? Huo Wu didn't even know Yang Fan's name until now, and she was angry just because he didn't show up in person. I don't know about this little one. I'm just a clerk, running errands for that customer. Huo Bao said with a gloomy face. Go to his house and get 2 brilliant flame blood heart Ganoderma for him. He was willing to accept the loss. Huo Bao didn't intend to default on this point and let the whole Douluo Continent criticize him, nor did he let Blazing Academy bear the debt, because it was owed by his 2 children. Next time you bet with others without knowing the other party's strength, be careful that I will punish you. Huo Bao lectured Huo Washang again, and then asked them to take the medicine shop clerk to his home, to get the Huanga and Blood Heart Ganoderma. Although Huo Bao is only a soul saint, relying on the foundation of Blazing Fire Academy for so many years and the continuous training of soul masters for the Xiandao Empire, the Huo family has been regarded as a famous family in the Xiandao Empire. The family has a lot of savings and resources. The last time Huo Wu lost to Yang Fan at the auction was not because the family had no money, but because they didn't want to be a fool. On the other side, 2 Huanga and Blood Heart Ganoderma have been obtained. Yang Fan finally understood why Huo Wu was so obsessed with Huoling. Because the 5-year-old Continental Soul Master Academy Elite competition will start in half a year. Not only Blazing Fire Academy, regular colleges like Thunder, Divine Wind, Xianshu, Kanghu, etc. are preparing the necessary resources in order to shine in the Soul Master competition and strive to recruit more outstanding students next year. This is the biggest event in the entire Douluo Continent. The beneficiaries are not only Soul Masters, but also can drive consumption and profits among various cities. This also includes the Puyi clan. He can already imagine the scene of the Puyi clan's healing medicine being in short supply. In fact, he can do it too. With his current level of medicine refining, it is easy to refine a batch of blood coagulation powder that can be sold well in Xiandao City, but Yang Fan does not intend to do so. Xiandao City is not like the Soul Beast Forest. Any conspicuous behavior may expose his identity. He took out his own furnace for refining pills, and took out a large number of medicinal materials from the Soul Guide. Fire, add medicine. Quenching this time he refined an ordinary 3rd grade pill. The required medicinal materials are cheap and the refining process is complicated, which is most suitable for tempering his refining skills and soul power. Since he saw Yao Lao using soul power to severely injure the 10,000-year soul beast in the Soul Beast Forest last time, he has a new understanding of the power of soul power. Powerful soul power can not only be used to refine medicine and explore the surrounding environment, but also is a powerful killing weapon. Imagine that someone rushed towards him with a martial soul, but he solved the opponent invisibly without any action. Too pretentious. This should be the true embodiment of a strong person. Yao Lao also told him that soul power is also divided into mortal realm, spiritual realm, heavenly realm, and emperor realm. Each realm is divided into low, medium, high, and great perfection. Only those whose souls reach the spiritual realm are qualified to refine the 8th grade elixir. According to Yao Lao's evaluation of him, his current soul power may have just reached the middle level of the mortal realm, which is barely an entry level. Why is there a gap between the strong? In fact, the gap between the strong is reflected in these details that others may not pay attention to. Chapter 65. Make her pee all at once. Outskirts of Xiandao City. This is the approximate location where Yang Fan currently lives. Cheap and quiet. For him, it is a Feng Shui treasure land for alchemy. Recently, the training plan arranged by Yao Lao for him is alchemy. First, to improve the level of alchemy, and second, to improve the soul power, to lay a solid foundation for the impact of the 4th grade alchemist. Another reason is to accumulate some medicinal materials for refining high-level elixirs during this period, to prepare for the impact of the level later. He is now constantly forging his body, hoping to add a 30,000-year-old soul ring when he gets the 4th soul ring. Of course, there is another reason why Yang Fan chose such a remote place. The elite competition of the All-Continent Soul Master Academy will start in another half a year. Now the whole Xiandao city has begun to bustle. The reason why this elite competition is called the most unprecedented event in the entire continent. One of the reasons is because of the status of Soul Masters in Douluo Continent, and the second is because of the extraordinary significance of this competition to Soul Masters. Just 2 days ago, the Spirit Hall has announced the rewards for the champion of this elite competition. The champion team will be led by the elders of the Spirit Hall to the Soul Beast Forest, to hunt for the soul rings they need. Don't underestimate this reward. Although the players who can win the championship don't need to worry about their spirit rings, the most important thing in this reward is that the elders of the Spirit Hall lead the team. They are all titled Douluo. In the past, there were many cases of titled Douluo accepting disciples. Even if they don't get the favor of the elders of the Spirit Hall, they can be trained as future platinum bishops by virtue of their status as champion members. The more outstanding ones can even get the treatment of future elders. If you don't want to join the Spirit Hall, even if you return to your empire, it's natural to be crowned. In addition to the champion team, the Spirit Masters who perform well in the competition can also be wooed by various sects. It can be said that the elite competition is an important turning point for young Spirit Masters to become strong. The surface is calm, but the undercurrent is surging. Behind this kind of wooing of talents, there must be countless tricks. The simplest example, if a genius boy appears in the sect, he will inevitably be favored by the hostile forces. There are not a few Spirit Masters who die in accidents every year in Douluo Continent. In addition, some powerful people from Douluo Continent have appeared in Xiandao City recently. If he is in the downtown area, not only will he be unsafe, but Yao Lao and the Soul State may also encounter trouble. In this environment, what Yang Fan has to do is to stay away from the downtown and develop alone. Hey, come out. The familiar voice was mixed with a bad premonition, driving Yang Fan to open a little curtain. Sure enough, it was Huo Wu standing outside. How did Huo Wu know that he lived here? The next second Yang Fan had a guess. The Xiandao Huo family is also a sect force that is not small, especially in Xiandao City for so many years. The foundation is naturally indispensable. It won't be too difficult to find a small character like him. I know you are in there. Yang Fan originally planned to keep silent, and the matter would be over. But he still underestimated Huo Wu's determination. The door slowly opened, and Yang Fan walked out from inside. What's the matter? I want to fight you again. Yang Fan had guessed it long ago. Huo Wu is also a genius in her family, and she has been used to a life of being the center of attention since she was a child. As the leader of her family, she rarely lost to her peers. After she suffered a loss at his hands, she must have wanted to save face immediately. I can't fight. Why? My tendons and veins are injured. Now I can't consume too much soul power. Really? Huo Wu didn't believe it at first. She was fine the day before yesterday. How could her tendons and veins suddenly be damaged? However, the medicinal materials in Yang Fan's room became the key to this lie. Huo Wu hesitated for a moment, and seeing Yang Fan's sincere eyes, she left unwillingly. Who? Yang Fan breathed a sigh of relief. I hope this fiery girl won't come again in the future. He is now living in Xiandao City as Yang Fan. Don't be careless. Hey, this little girl is interesting. Yao Lao's soul floated lightly in the room, and a playful smile appeared on his face. Interesting? Yang Fan didn't think so. His situation is different from that of most soul masters on Douluo Continent. Although Ceres of the Spirit Temple was dead, the Spirit City had already sent an 86th level soul Douluo to guard Xiandao City. I think this girl might come again in a few days. Yao Lao's words came true. On the morning of the next day, Huo Wu sent a package containing some medicines to repair tendons and veins. Huo Wu did not stay for long, but she left a message when she was inside, hoping that Yang Fan could fight her again after his injury healed. TSK Shamrock Root, Purple Smoke Fruit, Fairy, tranquilizing flower with such a girl. Why would our master and disciple need to go to the medicine store in the future? Why don't you just pretend to be sick for whatever medicine you need? Yang Fan looked at Yao Lao's playful ridicule and couldn't help saying, "You are disrespectful to the elderly." So many medicinal materials. Yang Fan has seen Huo Wu's determination to fight again, and it seems that he can't refuse. People with Huo Wu's personality are not bad, but they are very competitive. If you want to deal with such people, you must use thundering means. Make her pee in one go. Let her realize the gap between the two sides. Let her heart be completely filled with frustration. Let her realize that she is not the only one who is favored by heaven in this world. In this way, she will never want to challenge again. Yang Fan stared at the herbs that Huo Wu sent this morning, and the decision he made in his heart gradually became firm. Well, let's do it. For so many medicinal materials, he also has to teach Huo Wu a good lesson. After making up his mind, Yang Fan began a new round of refining pills. The pill he was about to refine was called the Resurrection Pill. At first, Yang Fan thought it was a pill that could revive people. However, he thought too much. The function of the Resurrection Pill is to enable the Dao Shi to quickly restore the Dao Qi, and it has a strong effect of stopping bleeding and healing wounds. It is because of this effect and the cheapness of the required medicinal materials that it can be ranked among the ranks of the third grade pills. Master, I'm ready to start. Yao Lao nodded and then waved his hand, and the surging Dao Qi enveloped the entire small room rented by Yang Fan. Under the cover of this layer of fighting spirit, any unusual movement in the room will not be transmitted outside. Chapter 66, The 7th Soul Skill Nightmare. In the blink of an eye, another 3 months have passed. As the Soul Master Elite competition approaches, the entire Xiandao city begins to become lively. Many Soul Master colleges have booked hotels in Xiandao city in advance, so that their participating players can shine in this elite competition held every 5 years. Yang Fan walked on the streets of Xiandao city. At a glance, there are quite a few Soul Master colleges that can be named. What do you need this time? The frequent visits during this period have made him a regular customer of the Xiandao city medicine shop. 1000 spirit ginseng, red blood spirit fruit. Yang Fan put a full 2000 gold soul coins on the counter. The good thing about Soul Masters is that they make money quickly. Going to the Soul Beast Forest to hunt a 1000-year-old Soul Beast casually can earn at least a few hundred gold soul coins. Okay, wait a moment. Yang Fan wanted some soul nourishing herbs this time. Yao Lao has paid so much for him, and he has to fulfill his duties as an apprentice occasionally. Although these soul nourishing herbs are unlikely to be as effective as the soul repairing pills that Yao Lao said, but it's better than nothing. Yao Lao had told him more than once that cultivation is a process of continuous accumulation of bits and pieces. Dude, I want 2 red blood spirit fruits. A slightly hoarse and old voice sounded beside Yang Fan. If this person wanted something else, it might not attract Yang Fan's attention, but this person actually wanted the same red blood spirit fruit as him, which made Yang Fan take a closer look. Shinan. Yang Fan recognized this guy who had the same needs as him at a glance. As the leader of Kanghu Academy, it was not uncommon for Shinan to appear in Xiandao city at this time. He didn't have a deep impression of this old man, and he was limited to being a soul saint who could create illusions. However, this old man seemed to have a piece of 10,000-year illusion wisdom soul bone on his head. He had asked Yao Lao before. Yao Lao's answer to him was that the illusion wisdom soul bone belonged to the spiritual soul bone, but it was not as good as the pure spiritual soul bone. When Yang Fan heard this, he didn't take it seriously, but when he saw Shinan, an idea came into his mind. If you can't refine a big pill, you can refine a small pill first. If you want to wait for the next soul bone reward from the All Continent Soul Master Academy, it will take at least 5.5 years. Yang Fan took the medicine that the medicine shop clerk had packed for him and turned to leave. This side. Master, if the spiritual skull we obtain is less than 10,000 years old, or just at the node of 10,000 years, to what extent can the refined pill restore your soul power? Yang Fan's sudden question made Yao Lao a little confused, but after thinking about it, he still gave an answer. If the spiritual skull, that is less than 10,000 years old, is used as the core of the medicine, It will have a certain impact on the effect of the pill, but it cannot be denied that the pill has a repairing effect on the soul. If that's the case, the next time you see a title Douluo like Dugubo, you can deal with it head on even without the detoxification pill. Yang Fan understood. Such a soul repairing pill can make Yao Lao have the strength that truly belongs to a titled Douluo. And it's Yao Lao in the state of soul. I really can't imagine what level Yao Lao will reach if he reshapes his body on the Douluo Continent. On the way back, Yang Fan had already started thinking about how to kill Shinan and successfully take away the soul bone. First of all, killing Shinan is not difficult. But the problem that needs to be solved is how to get rid of this old thing quietly and at the same time not to attract the attention of the Wuhan Hall and the various forces in Xiandao City. To be honest, this is difficult. At present, all the major colleges in the Xiandao competition area have gathered in Xiandao City. No one will be so stupid as to go out of the city for no reason. In order to prevent the opponent from making a move, each college has even issued a strict order to their students and teachers not to go out alone unless necessary. Force attack. Lure the enemy. No matter which method is used, it seems that it is not as simple as imagined. Master. If I encounter a soul master who can create an illusion in the future, how should I deal with it? Yao Lao did not respond. This made Yang Fan dare not ask again. As the Soul Master Elite competition is approaching, many strong people have gathered in Xiandao City. Generally speaking, Yao Lao does not show up easily now, especially when he comes to the city to buy medicine. However, the next second Yang Fan felt a chill on his neck. His hair stood on end. The fighting spirit in his body began to surge with his steps. A year of experience in the Soul Beast Forest had already made him more sensitive to danger than ordinary people. Yang Fan was sure that someone wanted to kill him now. Who was it? His only enemy in the past 2 years was the Elephant Armor sect, but it shouldn't be. His current identity was unknown to the Elephant Armor sect, and the most important thing was that Yao Lao didn't remind him that danger was approaching. At this moment, the slight distortion of the air next to him made Yang Fan punch without hesitation. In an instant, the sky collapsed, and the earth cracked. The surrounding buildings turned upside down, the rocks collapsed, and the whole world seemed to turn around. The quiet suburban road just now turned into a jungle in an instant, and standing right in front of him was Shinan, who he had just met in the medicine store. How old are you? Shinan was obviously shocked by Yang Fan's sharpness. He didn't believe that a child under 10 years old could have such a reaction and vigilance. Something wrong? Yang Fan was confused. Okay. He was just thinking about how to kill Shinan, but this old guy came to his door by himself. If he hadn't known the abilities of the spirit masters in Douluo Continent, he would have thought that Shinan had some spirit skill that could read people's minds. Shinan laughed. It was a very ugly laugh. I didn't expect you to be a spirit master. No wonder you want to buy something as good as the red blood spirit fruit. Yang Fan understood. The reason why Shinan was waiting here was for the red blood spirit fruit on him. Recently, the Elite Spirit Master competition is approaching, and consumables in Xiandao City are in short supply. This old man probably didn't buy it in the pharmacy, so he set his sights on him. No need to look. I can tell you that this is already outside Xiandao City. Yang Fan was not surprised, but happy when he heard it. Fuck you. How do you know that dad is going to kill you outside Xiandao City? From Shinan's expression and tone, Yang Fan could easily judge that the environment they were currently in was an absolutely hidden place that would not be discovered by others. This was the situation created by Shinan, and it was also what Yang Fan wanted to see. Kid, do you think someone will come to save you now? Shinan didn't understand why Yang Fan couldn't help laughing in this situation. This kid doesn't look like a mentally retarded person. Adhering to the law that villains die because of their excessive talk, Shinan didn't continue to talk nonsense. 7th Soul Skill, Nightmare. Chapter 67 Yang Fan's Big Killer. Instantly, the world around him collapsed again. The ground under Yang Fan's feet was replaced by an endless abyss, and then his body began to fall down. Before he had time to adjust his body, he was already in a soul beast forest. The rumbling waterfall and the mammoth corpse half floating in the pool. Yang Fan recognized it. This place was where he relied on Yao Lao's power to hunt Hu Yanhei. The next second, The Xiangjia clan members headed by Hu Yansan had surrounded him. Yang Fan knew that all this was fake, and it was all an illusion created by Shinan, based on his inner fear. But he also heard another saying, people who died in the illusion will never wake up. With his current ability, it is nothing but a fool's dream to want to deal with the entire Xiangjia clan. Not to mention him. Even if the entire Pou clan is called, they are still not the opponent of the Xiangjia clan. The only way to break the situation, break the nightmare. Yang Fan didn't care about the strong pressure brought to him by the Xiangjia clan, let alone what Hu Yansan was saying at this time. In his heart, he kept telling himself, all of this is fake. At this time, Yang Fan spoke up, Shinan, where did you get the soul bone on your head? Did you rob it? While speaking, Yang Fan took out a red blood fruit from the storage soul guide and ate it. This precious spiritual medicine can temporarily improve one's spiritual power, even if it is eaten raw. Shinan was extremely surprised. How do you know my name? And how do you know that I have a soul bone? He was sure that he had never revealed anything about his identity from beginning to end. If he knew his name, because he was the leader of Kanghu Academy this time, then what about the soul bone? He had never told anyone that he had a soul bone, not even the dean of Kanghu Academy. Shinan's emotional fluctuations radiated into the nightmare, causing the illusion in which Yang Fan was to fluctuate slightly. It was at this moment that Yang Fan seized the opportunity. Flame-splitting wave-devouring ruler. Yang Fan used the Xuantian ruler that appeared in his hand at some point to chop it straight ahead. The blast of air that cut through the thorns tore through the nightmare and landed on Shinan. The defenseless Shinan obviously didn't expect a child to be able to break free from his 7th soul skill, let alone attack him from the nightmare. Before this, it was not easy for even a soul saint to break free from his nightmare, unless that person's mental strength was strong enough. However, before he could get out of the shock, Yang Fan's next attack came again. The black ruler flew. Seeing this situation, Shinan almost subconsciously slapped the huge black ruler flying towards him. When his palm touched the black ruler, he clearly felt that the soul power in his body was suppressed. The next moment, Yang Fan's fist arrived. 8 extreme collapse. After being promoted to a fighting master, Yang Fan can already perfectly present this set of high-level Xuan level fighting skills. A punch. Yang Fan's body was also instantly bounced back, but the real attack of the 8 extreme collapse was on Shinan. Kid, who are you? Although Shinan is a spiritual soul master, he is still a soul sage. The 8 dark forces did not cause him any lethal damage. But Shinan did not dare to be careless at this moment. It is not important who I am. What is important is that you are going to die soon. Yang Fan urged his fighting spirit to collect the Xuantian ruler in his palm and then turned his body to sweep towards Shinan. Shinan is a soul sage. However, his soul skills are all related to the spiritual system. The nightmare just now did not lock Yang Fan in, let alone now. The effect of the red blood spirit fruit and Yang Fan's own extraordinary soul power instantly silenced Shinan's small skills. Shinan had to share his soul power to resist the 8 dark forces in his body, and at the same time he had to deal with Yang Fan's bombardment. In this situation, he was already a little overwhelmed. Go to hell. Although Shinan's spiritual attack did not cause any substantial damage to Yang Fan, his powerful soul power as a soul saint allowed him to punch the Xuantian ruler. The powerful attack caused Yang Fan's body to fly back instantly, leaving a deep scratch on the ground. Old bastard, you're dead. Yang Fan inserted the Xuantian ruler into the ground and replaced it with the Dao Qi in his left hand and the soul power in his right hand. The two began to merge at this moment. When the Dao Qi and soul power approached each other, the surrounding air shook due to the squeezing of the two energies. Not good. Shinan didn't know why. When the two air masses began to merge, he actually felt a danger he had never felt before. This was the intuition of the soul saint. He wanted to stop it, but it was too late. When Shinan was less than 5 meters away from Yang Fan, the combination of soul power and Dao Qi merged perfectly and was pushed out from Yang Fan's hands. The combination of Dao Qi and soul power formed a blazing white energy fireball. The fireball was not big. The diameter is about the size of a bowl, and there are irregular orange-red lines on it. It was this strange-looking energy fireball that hit Shinan's chest exactly. It was hot. Shinan's expression was distorted violently. Before Shinan could deal with the pain, that was like drinking magma. The energy fireball exploded instantly in Shinan's chest. The terrifying energy wave overflowed and attacked Yang Fan. At this moment, Yao Lao suddenly appeared and used his soul to block Yang Fan to ensure that his beloved disciple was safe. Yang Fan was unharmed. However, the surrounding trees, rocks, flowers, and plants were not so lucky. Looking at the position where Shinan was standing, the living person just now was gone, leaving only a skull flashing with a strange halo. He killed a soul saint? Wow. Yang Fan couldn't believe that the fusion of fighting spirit and soul power could actually burst out such a powerful power. Although Shinan is a spiritual soul master, you can say whether he is a soul saint. You big-headed ghost. Why don't you run away? Yao Lao slapped Yang Fan on the head, and this slap was more or less personal. Yes, yes, yes. Let's get out of here quickly. Although he was outside Xiandao City, it was still within the scope of Xiandao City. At this time, when the Soul Master Elite competition was approaching, all the sects were extremely sensitive. The slightest movement would attract the attention of others. Once discovered by the powerful sects, it would be no fun. Yang Fan took the soul bone that Shinan had exploded and greased his feet. He didn't dare to stay any longer. Chapter 68. Yao Chen? Never heard of him. You little brat. Didn't I tell you not to do those dangerous things? Yang Fan succeeded. But it was also because this kid was weak, and the energy fireball condensed by using two different cultivation key groups was not strong enough. If Yang Fan was strong, he would not be able to block this energy fireball today. On the other hand, it depends on the speed at which Yang Fan merged his fighting spirit and soul power today. This is obviously not the first time. This kid has studied this thing privately when he was not paying attention. Yang Fan smiled and said nothing more. He did succeed today, and the power caused by the soul energy bomb was even beyond his expectations. But Yang Fan was not satisfied. The soul energy bomb he created stayed for about half a second before it was detonated after it was released, which was completely unacceptable to him. Today was the time when he was not prepared at all. If he met an opponent with rich combat experience next time, half a second would be enough for the opponent to solve the big trouble he created. It's not that the soul energy bomb is not good, it's him. He did not have a precise control over the timing of releasing the soul energy bomb, and he did not catch the enemy off guard. What does it feel like when two different cultivation key masses merge with each other? Yao Lao taught him a lesson, but he always encouraged Yang Fan to seek more creativity in cultivation. Take the fighting skills in his ring, for example, which volume was not created by the predecessors on a whim. Of course, this kind of sudden creation must have a limit. It feels amazing. When they first merged, it was like two magnets that repelled each other, but after they were completely merged, it was like two magnets that attracted each other and stuck together firmly. When they were completely merged, there was a kind of depth that was hard to see through, so I couldn't tell when they would explode. This is why Yang Fan couldn't control the release timing well. That's because your soul power is too weak, which makes it impossible to detect the restlessness in the energy gas mass. You must intensify your practice in the future. Don't sneak around to make that energy fireball without my permission in the future. Yao Lao's attitude is equivalent to agreeing with Yang Fan's move to merge his fighting spirit and soul power, but he must be accompanied by his parents. Soul power. Indeed. Strong soul power can not only allow practitioners to release skills more accurately, but also detect the weaknesses of opponents in battle. Yang Fan took out the 10,000-year illusion wisdom head soul bone from the soul guide. This is the fourth soul bone he has obtained in the past 2 years. If such a soul bone is absorbed by a soul master, it will only get a slight improvement in the skills and level of the head soul bone. However, in Yao Lao's hands, not only can the incomplete soul be replenished in large quantities, but Yao Lao can also have the strength of a titled Douluo. Of course. To truly complete this transformation, they now need a 10,000-year ginseng king. The first thing Yang Fan thought of was the crystal blood dragon ginseng of the minimum clan. But when the minimum clan was so poor that they were bleeding, he was reluctant to auction off this crystal blood dragon ginseng. It was not easy to get this crystal blood dragon ginseng. Yang Fan used to think that the soul bone might be the most difficult of the three things, but now he no longer thinks so. Yang Fan. Huo Wu's voice made Yang Fan quickly put the newly obtained 10,000-year soul bone into the storage soul guide. It has been 3 months since Huo Wu last sent medicine. During this period, Yang Fan successfully met Huo Wu's unreasonable request and beat this fiery girl. He originally thought that Huo Wu would not come again, but he still underestimated the cheap characteristics in this woman's bones. After the last soul fight, not only did Huo Wu's fighting spirit not be discouraged, but he even regarded him as a villain boss who could not be surpassed for the time being. "Why are you here? Can't I come?" Huo Wu sat down on the only chair in the room, which she brought not long ago. "Is Blazing Academy ready?" As a veteran team in the Xiandao division, Blazing Academy had already arranged accommodation for the competition in the city, and even now they were getting used to the competition venue. "Ready. Anyway, they don't need me to do anything." As the daughter of the president of Blazing Academy, Huo Wu was naturally arranged to be in the participating team this time. Of course, as a great soul master, she was not qualified to play, but just followed the senior brothers and sisters of this session to see the world and prepare for the next Soul Master Elite competition. "Sometimes the more I look at you, the more I feel like you are someone." Yang Fan raised his eyebrows slightly and asked, "Who?" "An opponent I met in the soul fighting arena before. His fighting style is as strange as yours, but his martial spirit is a huge black ruler. His name is Yao Chen. It's a pity that you don't go to the soul fighting arena, otherwise you will definitely hear legends about him in the soul fighting arena. He is the soul master at the level of the great soul master who has the best hope of getting the gold soul fighting badge. He only needs to win one more game, and his fighting spirit strength can indeed do it. However, that guy suddenly disappeared a year ago. Do you know him?" Huo Wu said with a little regret. She and the guy named Yao Chen only met twice in the soul fighting arena, and both times ended with her failure. Originally, she planned to go to the soul fighting arena to compete with the guy named Yao Chen when she reached the soul master level, but now it seems that there is no chance anymore. "I have never heard of this name." Yang Fan looked calm on the surface, but he was laughing like a fool in his heart. "I didn't expect it. Although I'm no longer in the martial arts world, there are still legends about me. Forget it. What I'm saying to you is like talking to a cow. You don't understand how much shock the fighting spirit field can bring to the soul master." Yang Fan had to admit this. He had been bored for a year in the fighting spirit field. If he was asked to choose between the fighting spirit field and the soul beast forest, the result would be the soul beast forest 10,000 times. "Hey, is this the new medicine furnace you bought?" Talking about alchemy, Yang Fan finally became interested. He smiled and said, "This furnace is okay, right?" He bought it in the market today for 1,000 gold soul coins. 1,000 gold soul coins may not be a big deal, but in the environment of Douluo Continent where alchemy is not emphasized, an alchemy furnace worth 1,000 gold soul coins is already a sky-high price. It's just so. My alchemy furnace is much better than yours. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69. I just want to get a medicine furnace for free. What? Your family also refines medicine? The surprise on Yang Fan's face could no longer be explained in words. "Don't look down on me. My great-grandfather used to refine medicine." Yang Fan asked in confusion. "Then why doesn't your family refine medicine now?" "My great-grandfather liked to refine medicine very much when he was young, but later because of refining medicine, he delayed his cultivation, and the elders of the family were angry and basically smashed all his useless things. Until now, there is still a cauldron of alchemy that my great-grandfather secretly left in the warehouse in the backyard of my house." Yang Fan understands. The alchemy skills of Douluo Continent can be said to be of little help to soul masters. As for their Puyi clan, they are already a large alchemy family in the entire Douluo Continent, but the elixirs refined by the family are consumables for healing and stopping bleeding. Even after 10,000 years of development, they have only refined inferior goods such as Xuantian. The elders of Huo Wu's great-grandfather are not wrong. From the perspective of cultivation alone, the elixirs refined on the Douluo Continent will really affect the cultivation of soul masters. One of the reasons why the Poe clan cultivates is because of his grandfather's love for alchemy, and the second reason is for life. The main source of income for the family is alchemy. So the particularly good alchemy furnace you mentioned is the one left by your great-grandfather? Yao Lao had told him before that a good alchemy furnace also needs to be influenced by medicinal materials and precipitated by time. If what Huo Wu said is true, what do you want to do? Huo Wu's eyebrows twitched slightly, and she realized in her heart that something bad might happen next. Help me steal the alchemy furnace left by your great-grandfather. Huo Wu's expression changed instantly. Yang Fan, I treat you as a friend, and you treat me as a fool, right? Huo Wu's face seemed to be engraved with two big words, angry. It's useless for your family to keep that broken thing. You might as well give it to me to inherit your great-grandfather's legacy. I think his spirit in heaven will be pleased. Yang Fan's words not only failed to impress Huo Wu, but even made this fiery girl even more angry. Huo Wu said angrily, my great-grandfather is not dead yet. Yang Fan was stunned on the spot, but he found a glimmer of hope in the embarrassment. How about this? Take me to see your great-grandfather. I think he will be happy to give me the alchemy furnace. Huo Wu sneered at Yang Fan's wild idea and said with a little disdain, you are so shameless. However, under Yang Fan's persistence, Huo Wu decided to take this guy to see her great-grandfather. She wanted to see what kind of sparks two people from different eras could create. Although Blazing Fire Academy is outside Xiandao City, the Xiandao Huo family lives in a prosperous street in the center of the city. According to Huo Wu's description, this mansion was specially rewarded by Emperor Zhuyi for the Huo family's continuous training of soul masters for the empire. Huo Wu's great-grandfather lives in a quiet courtyard at the back of this mansion. Although Huo Wu's great-grandfather has stepped down from the position of patriarch for decades, he is still the most prestigious person in the entire family. Grandpa, I'm here to see you. Under Huo Wu's guidance, Yang Fan finally met the old man who was obsessed with alchemy when he was young. A vigorous and slender old man. At first glance, he is at least 100 years old, but Yang Fan dare not be presumptuous about his specific age. This is the advantage of soul masters. Live long. Ordinary people on Douluo Continent may have died for 3 generations, but soul masters still maintain a strong body. Little girl, you still remember to come to see your great-grandfather. Grandpa Huo's old eyes revealed a kind look, and then he set his eyes on Yang Fan behind him. Grandfather, this is my friend Yang Fan. He said he wants the furnace you used to refine pills when you were young. Huo Wu spoke quickly. When introducing Yang Fan, she even mentioned the purpose of his visit, leaving him no room for maneuver. So you're a guest. Girl, make a cup of tea for the guest on behalf of grandfather. On the way here, Yang Fan heard Huo Wu say that her great-grandfather was a particular person, but he didn't expect that he was so particular that he even used the hospitality of a little kid like him. Please sit down. Grandfather Huo stretched out his old, wrinkled hand slightly, and Yang Fan felt a little embarrassed, even if he didn't sit down. Do you want to buy the furnace I used to refine pills when I was young? The straightforward character of the Huo family was once again reflected in the old man. Not buying. I want to borrow it for a while. That's right. Yang Fan didn't intend to pay anything in return from the beginning to get a free medicine furnace. He did this after careful consideration. If the old man is really a person who loves alchemy, then the alchemy furnace must have extraordinary significance to him. Using money to trade may offend the old man. So Yang Fan is gambling. Why? You can also make alchemy. Old Master Huo's expression revealed a hint of joy, and his bright eyes looked at Yang Fan again. A little bit. This is a pill I made a few days ago. Because I don't have a suitable alchemy furnace, the quality of the pill is not good. While speaking, Yang Fan handed over a 3rd grade resurrection pill he made with both hands. He didn't lie. This pill was indeed made by him a few days ago, and of course it is also the best quality in his current storage soul guide. He dared to say it. In the entire Douluo Continent, I'm afraid that only he and Yao Lao can make pills of this quality. He just wants to take out the pill that he thinks is the best to shock old Master Huo from the soul. Old Master Huo took the pill and his hands trembled. At this moment, the memories of his youth in his heart seemed to be awakened. This is what you made? Old Master Huo's voice was trembling with excitement. When Yang Fan nodded, the look in his eyes changed again. Amazing. It's really amazing. I've never seen a pill of such good quality. Although old Master Huo didn't know the grade of the pill, he could tell at a glance that it was definitely not an ordinary one. If he could have made this kind of pill back then, maybe the elders of the family would have supported him to continue on the road of making pills. Unfortunately, he didn't learn the skills well. Can you tell me what the effect of this pill is? Old Master Huo's eyes couldn't hide his eagerness. Now he was more like a child. Chapter 70, The Romance of the Alchemist. I named this pill the Resurrection Pill. It is used to restore fighting, soul power. Old Master Huo nodded happily. This is a good effect. He recalled the hunting of soul rings when he was young. Even with the combined efforts of several people, they were exhausted by a soul beast and were almost killed by the soul beast. If there was such a pill at that time, the probability of successfully hunting soul rings would be greatly increased. Come with me. Under the guidance of old Master Huo, Yang Fan came to a large house in the Huo family. The door slowly opened. On the shelves inside were placed various things needed by soul masters. It can be seen that this is the warehouse of the Huo family. Old Master Huo's attention was all on a dusty stove in the corner. His expression was complicated. It was like two old friends who had not seen each other for many years. When Yang Fan saw this Ting alchemy furnace, his eyes lit up. In the past 3 years, he has broken dozens of furnaces, if not 100. How could he not see the quality of this Ting furnace? The cauldron in front of him was heavy, simple, and profound. Although it was smaller than all the cauldrons he had used before, it gave him a mysterious feeling that could not be seen. Old Master Huo wiped off the thick dust on the cauldron with his old hands, revealing its mysterious appearance. The cauldron was red in color, and there were several strange black lines on the cauldron. The name of this cauldron is Qian. I will give it to you today. There was no reluctance in old Master Huo's eyes to be taken away by someone else, but an unprecedented relief. He is old. Alchemy will never be his lifelong destiny, but old Master Huo does not want the Qian furnace to sleep with him. Thank you. This resurrection pill is for you. Yang Fan did not want someone else's treasure for nothing. He had already made plans to exchange it when he took out the resurrection pill. However, old Master Huo shook his head. What use is there for an old man like me to have such a treasure? Keep it for yourself, kid. When the two came out of the warehouse, they happened to meet Huo Wu, who was looking for it everywhere. She was surprised to see the alchemy furnace held by Yang Fan. When they came out of the Huo family, Huo Wu hurriedly asked how he took the treasure away from her great-grandfather. Yang Fan smiled back. This is a romance between alchemists. Back to the residence. Yang Fan couldn't wait to move the red flame furnace out of the storage soul guide. Although it was smaller than the alchemy furnace he used before, it was also the size of a pot, and the weight was really not low. Not simple. I didn't expect that there was an alchemy furnace of this quality in the world of Douluo Continent. Yao Lao, who was hanging in the room, also praised the alchemy furnace that Yang Fan got for free. Although this alchemy furnace was not as good as his black magic cauldron, it was a lifetime of luck to find such a treasure in a world like Douluo Continent where alchemy technology was scarce. Master, I'm ready to start. Yang Fan was eager to try. He wanted to try whether it was true as Yao Lao said that a high quality medicine furnace could improve the probability and quality of alchemy. Silly boy, are you going to start like this? Yao Lao gently tapped Yang Fan on the head and then began to popularize science. The first thing to do with a high quality medicine furnace is to open the furnace. Although this medicine furnace has been used by someone, it has been dormant for decades in the process. Now the first thing to do is to wake it up. Open the furnace. Wake up. These are words Yang Fan had never heard before. He also understood why Yao Lao didn't popularize these to him, because this old man didn't think about what high quality medicine furnaces there could be in Douluo Continent. Watch it. Yao Lao flipped his palm, and the bone spirit cold fire appeared in his palm. The fact that Yao Lao personally took the lead was enough to prove the importance of the opening step. Yao Lao first used the bone spirit cold fire to heat the entire furnace body. When it reached a certain temperature, Yang Fan actually saw that the strange patterns on the red flame furnace seemed to move, as if they were alive. A good furnace is a good furnace. The difference can be seen just from the appearance. The process of opening the furnace seems very simple. It is to refine the elixir. However, in this process of refining the elixir gas must be constantly nourishing the entire furnace body. Not long after, the red flame furnace, which had been silent for decades, refined the first elixir, and the cauldron refining furnace seemed to be rejuvenated at this moment. Try it. Yao Lao handed the right to use the red flame furnace back to Yang Fan. Yang Fan put his hand on the red flame furnace and thought to himself, just laugh. It is better to follow my father, to refine higher quality elixirs, and become famous in the future than to sleep in a broken warehouse. Yang Fan did not hesitate. With his left hand, he raised the orange-red fairy grass fire to heat the red flame furnace, and his right hand began to throw various medicinal materials into it. This time, he refined the third grade resurrection pill that he had been practicing recently, and was very smooth. Lighting the fire, preheating, adding medicine. The first 3 steps did not cause much ripples in Yang Fan's heart, but when it came to the quenching process, Yang Fan's eyes began to brighten. It's so useful. Yao Lao had said before, alchemists and alchemy furnaces complement each other. Today, he really understood the meaning of this sentence. Those ordinary alchemy furnaces in the past were like tools in his hands, but this Tingqian furnace was more like an assistant. In the process of alchemy, he experienced what it meant to run in both directions. After about half an hour, a resurrection pill slowly rose from the red flame furnace. The pill was ready. Although this was the first time that Yang Fan and the alchemy furnace cooperated, it made him feel that there seemed to be a certain connection between the two. Yang Fan took the resurrection pill in his hand. Whether in terms of quality or color, this third grade pill was the best he had ever refined. Not bad. How could Yao Lao not see Yang Fan's progress? Although this progress was the effect of the alchemy furnace, it was also part of the strength of the alchemist. Otherwise, why would there be such a thing as the alchemy cauldron list on the Douluo Continent? Master, can I try the 4th grade elixir? Yang Fan felt that he could do it. I think you are dreaming. Don't think that you can be invincible with the red flame furnace. I tell you that you are still far from it. With your current soul power, you can't control the 4th grade elixir during the tempering, let alone the later elixir. Yao Lao's blow did not make Yang Fan feel disappointed. He is a bad boy. This is something he knows very well. Now that he has the red flame furnace in his hand, he believes that the day when he becomes a 4th grade alchemist will definitely come early. Chapter 71 Feng Zai Ocean takes the initiative to visit. On the outskirts of Xiandao City, there were many soul masters standing near a messy forest. There was the new master of the spirit temple, Isali, a soul master of level 86. Next to Isali were several cardinals of the spirit temple. Ning Fengxi and Shenzhen, who represented the Xiandao Empire, also appeared at the scene. In addition to these strong men, there were also teachers and students from Kanghu College who participated in this competition. The reason was simple. All the clues at the scene pointed out that the soul master who died here was Shinian, the leader of Kanghu College who disappeared 2 days ago. For a time, the atmosphere in the entire Xiandao city suddenly became tense. There is no shortage of such acts of backstabbing in the 5-year Soul Master Elite competition, but no one expected that such a shady trick would appear 3 months before the competition. What puzzled everyone was why a team leader was killed. Although the team leader is an indispensable position in the competition, the key to the competition still depends on the students' on-the-spot performance. Uncle Jian, did you find anything? Shenzhen frowned slightly, then said, it seems that there are 2 different energy auras here. One is soul power, and the other one I can't tell. I also feel this. Can you tell which force it is from? Shenzhen shook his head. This is the most difficult thing to do. Logically speaking, a soul master who can kill a soul saint like Shinan can be considered a well-known figure on the Douluo Continent. Even if he is not a soul master from a large sect, he must be well known on the continent. Such people will more or less leave their own identity information after the battle. Either soul power or fighting style. However, Chen Zin could not tell from the scene which sect was responsible for this. You too, did you find anything? At this time, the master of the Wuhan temple, Isili, came over. What do you think, Master Isili? Ning Fengzi asked with a smile. Nothing has been found yet. It can be seen that the other party has acted cleanly and efficiently. Our Xiandao city may not be peaceful in the future. This will depend on the Hall Master to take more care. We, the Spirit Hall, will naturally fulfill our due responsibilities. Please ask the Lord Ning to convey to Emperor Zuyi that the city defense forces of Xiandao city should still add more people to patrol. Ning Fengzi and Isili exchanged pleasantries for a long time with a fake smile, and finally nodded and said goodbye. Fengzi, do you think it was them? The they in Chen Zin's mouth naturally refers to the Spirit Hall. It's not like the Spirit Hall has never done assassinations before. Ning Fengzi shook his head. What's the motive? A small character like Shinan is not worth the Spirit Hall's assassination at all. He guessed that this matter may have nothing to do with the Soul Master Elite competition. It is very likely that Shinan's enemies are seeking revenge, and they just happened to catch up at this point. There is no clue to the matter. The leader of the top 3 sects, Ning Fengzi, had made a hard trip for the sake of Emperor Zuyi's face, so naturally he would not make a big fuss for such a small and insignificant character. As for Kanghu Academy, they could only accept the defeat. Soul Masters die every day in Douluo Continent, and neither the Spirit Hall nor the Xiandao Empire can make decisions for them one by one. Shinan's death still caused ripples in Xiandao City. Yang Fan could feel the sudden tense atmosphere when he went to the city to buy medicine. After asking around, he hurried back to his residence in the suburbs after buying the herbs. On the way back, he also saw the contestants of Xiangjia Academy in Xiandao City. Among them was Hu Yanli, who was following the crowd. Because of his status as the grandson of the sect leader Hu Yansen, and because he was the most talented one in the family, Hu Yanli had long been famous in the 5 elemental academies. He was even more famous than the contestants of this year's Xiangjia Academy. Yang Fan did not have a good impression of Xiangjia sect. However, the original book mentioned that Hu Yanli had a soul bone on his head. On the way back, Yang Fan made some analysis. Hu Yanli was only 14 or 15 years old, at the level of a great soul master. Would Hu Yansen give his soul bone to his grandson? Has the soul bone been obtained by the Elephant Armor sect? These questions all need to be questioned. Yang Fan could only mark Hu Yanli first, and it would not be too late to knock this kid's head open when he went to the Elephant Armor sect to settle accounts later. Yang Fan's pace quickened. However, at this moment, a young man in green clothes suddenly appeared and blocked his way. He was not friendly. Yang Fan frowned slightly. After he came to Xiandao City, he did not cause any trouble. The only person who had a gap with him, Shinan, was also killed cleanly without leaving any handle. Who is this person? When the green-clothed young man turned around, Yang Fan already had the answer in his heart. Feng Xiaoshan, the first doglicker in Douluo. You are the one who defeated my sister Huo Wu? Feng Xiaoshan narrowed his eyes slightly, with a little surprise in his expression. The person in front of him looked 5 or 6 years younger than them. Could he really beat his goddess? Yang Fan walked around Feng Xiaoshan and continued to move forward. He didn't want to talk to a bootlicker. Yang Fan wanted to leave, but Feng Xiaoshan didn't agree. The next second, Feng Xiaoshan blocked Yang Fan like a gust of wind. Don't think about leaving today if you don't fight with me. The reason why Feng Xiaoshan stood here and waited for Yang Fan today was to get back the ground for Huo Wu and win Huo Wu's heart. You're sick. Yang Fan continued to move forward, but this time Feng Xiaoshan didn't have such good patience. Just attack. Watch this. This kid still has some martial ethics. Before attacking, he didn't forget to remind Yang Fan, just because he didn't want to be said to have won unfairly after defeating Yang Fan. Feng Xiaoshan's martial soul is the Gale-2-headed wolf, a mutant martial soul with both attack and speed. When Feng Xiaoshan launched the attack, 3 soul rings were already moving up and down around his body. 3-ring Soul Master? This was beyond Yang Fan's expectation. Come to think of it, Feng Xiaoshan's talent is indeed above Huo Wu and Huo Xiang. Feng Xiaoshan, who had activated his martial spirit, had already taken on some of the forms of the swift winter-headed wolf. With the rhythm of his spirit ring, sharp wolf claws popped out from his hands, giving him a sense of Wolverine. He crossed his hands and swung them vigorously, and 10.5 arc wind blades flashed out, blocking all the ways Yang Fan could dodge. Facing the array of wind blades launched by Feng Xiaoshan, Yang Fan calmly punched out, and the fierce fist force instantly blasted away all 10 wind blades. He took a lightning fast step. The flames rising from his palm slapped Feng Xiaoshan. Feng Xiaoshan was indeed a top-level genius, but he could only be defeated by the Zuan-level fighting skill, the blowing fire palm. When he fell to the ground, he finally realized that Huo Wu's defeat was not unfair. How old are you? Feng Xiaoshan didn't believe that Yang Fan in front of him was as small as he looked. This guy had defeated him without even activating his martial spirit. Yang Fan didn't answer, but he had already guessed which guy had told others about his defeat of Huo Wu. Chapter 70 To return to the Puyi clan. What? Feng Xiaoshan came to see you? Huo Wu was very angry when she got the news. She had nothing to do with Feng Xiaoshan, but it seemed like there was something going on between the two of them. Yes. Feng Xiaoshan also said that your brother asked him to come. Huo Wu frowned immediately. Her good brother. When she turned around, she would tear Huo Xiang's mouth to pieces. By the way, I came here to tell you something very important. Huo Wu changed her usual attitude and her expression suddenly became extremely serious. Before Yang Fan asked, she had already told him the purpose of this trip. My great-grandfather admires you very much. After he learned that you live alone, he hopes that you can join the Blazing Fire Academy and receive systematic training from a regular Soul Master Academy. So far, Huo Wu's understanding of Yang Fan is limited to a name, but she feels that Yang Fan's identity is not as simple as it seems. Yang Fan was unwilling to say, and she was not embarrassed to ask more. My great-grandfather also said that after you enter the Blazing Fire Academy, you can do what you want, and no one will interfere with your decision. The meaning of the old man Huo was obvious. He just didn't want Yang Fan to repeat his fate when he was young. Let me think about it. Yang Fan wanted to join Blazing Academy. Although he already had a 10,000-year-old intelligent skull, he was still obsessed with the 50,000-year-old spiritual skull of the next Soul Master Academy Elite competition. One way to get the 50,000-year-old spiritual skull of the Spirit Hall was to win the next Soul Master Elite competition. The first prerequisite for winning the championship was to find a regular Soul Master Academy to participate. Well, I'll wait for your reply. Our Blazing Academy is a place dedicated to training fire attribute Soul Masters. It can be said to be the most suitable place for you in the entire Douluo Continent. It is not difficult to see from Huo Wu's attitude that she really wants to win over Yang Fan to join Blazing Academy. Yang Fan doesn't mind this. The Puyi clan will inevitably make some powerful allies in the future to completely turn over in Douluo Continent. After Huo Wu left, Yao Lao suddenly appeared. What are you hesitating about? Let's just join. With your current talent, you will definitely be trained by Chihuo Academy as the next chief disciple. The resources you need will naturally be indispensable, and we will not have to rush around looking for medicinal materials in the future. However, Yang Fan did not dwell on this topic for long. Master, we are leaving. Yes. Yang Fan is ready to leave Xiandao City temporarily. First, because the news that he defeated the future pride of the two major academies of Chihuo and Shenfeng in succession may have spread, and he has to avoid being noticed. The more important reason is that he has been away from the Puyi clan for 2 years and 9 months. Time flies. He is almost 9 years old. From the innate full soul power, when he just left to the 39th level soul master now. If he had not focused all his energy on alchemy recently, he felt that he would have been a 4-ring soul master. He is ready to go home. In order to prevent being followed, Yang Fan left quietly and left Xiandao quietly under the cover of night. Yang Fan's route is very simple. After walking 800 kilometers from Xiandao, he entered the Xingdao Great Forest, and then crossed the Xingluo Empire from the Soul Beast Forest, and returned to the border Yunluo City. Although this route is troublesome, it is of great benefit to his cultivation. At the same time, because he is walking in an uninhabited area, he avoids the risk of attracting other people's attention. Half a month later, Yang Fan was already in the territory of the Xingluo Empire. Don't run. Yang Fan ran wildly in the Soul Beast Forest chasing a 3,000-year-old phoenix-tailed cockroach snake. For ordinary soul masters, this is a 3,000-year-old soul ring, and at the same time, he can have a dream of producing soul bones. But for Yang Fan, it is not the case. The snake gall of the phoenix-tailed cockroach snake can be used as a top-level medicinal material for refining elixirs. This kind of snake gall is rare even in the medicine shops in Xiandao City. Even those soul masters who specialize in hunting soul beasts for money are unwilling to provoke this kind of beast, because it is very difficult to kill. The third soul skill flash. The third soul ring on Yang Fan's body flashed suddenly, and the 200% speed bonus made him become like a flash of lightning. In the blink of an eye, he rushed out nearly 100 meters away. It was this forward charge that brought him to the front of the phoenix-tailed cockroach eel in an instant. Then, the soul-breaking spear in his hand stabbed like lightning. With Yang Fan's current strength, it was easy to kill a 3,000-year-old soul beast, not to mention that his third soul ring had 200% attack power. In an instant, the body of the phoenix-tailed cockroach eel was pierced by the soul-breaking spear. Smelly boy, slow down. If the snake gall is pierced, our master and disciple will have worked in vain today. Yang Fan showed a confident smile. No. Although he spent most of his time using the Xuantian ruler, it did not mean that he had abandoned the spear technique. Impartial. Yang Fan picked it up with force, and the gall of the phoenix-tailed cockroach eel was exposed. According to the method provided by Yao Lao, he put the gall of the phoenix-tailed cockroach eel into a special container, and then put it into the storage soul guide. After doing all this, Yang Fan returned to a cave he had found in advance this afternoon. Good luck today. He no longer needs to suffer from the cold wind like the past few days. Yang Fan returned to the cave and used the fire in his palm to light the wood in the cave. From the situation in the cave, it is not difficult to see that there were traces of human soul masters here. The bushes outside the cave entrance that were specially used for camouflage showed that the soul master had already regarded this place as a foothold. However, how could such a disguise escape the powerful soul power of Yao Lao? Tomorrow he can return to the Poyi clan, which he has been away for nearly 3 years. Grandpa would be very happy if he knew how he had grown in the past 3 years. Yang Fan looked at the blazing fire, and for the first time he couldn't calm down to practice, because he was homesick. He just wanted to go home immediately. At this time, the unusual movement outside caught Yang Fan's attention. The dangers that could appear at any time in the Soul Beast Forest were no longer surprising. Although most soul beasts hibernate at night and come out during the day, there are also some animals that hibernate during the day and come out at night. No. Yang Fan's nerves suddenly became tense. The sound and frequency of the unusual sound told him that the thing outside was not a soul beast, but a soul master. Yang Fan suddenly slapped the fire in the cave with his palm to prevent the fire in the cave from attracting the attention of the soul masters outside. Yang Fan was just about to go out to find out what was going on, but just as this idea came into his mind, a black shadow suddenly rushed in. There was no hesitation at all, which can be said to be a perfect interpretation of being familiar with the road. The sudden appearance of a black shadow made Yang Fan alert instantly, and the Xuantian ruler was tightly held in his hand. The black shadow also noticed Yang Fan in the narrow space with the help of the abnormal temperature in the cave. In an instant, the atmosphere suddenly became tense. Chapter 73 Remarks on the release. It will be available on the shelves tomorrow at 12 noon. I hope readers who support this book can give me a first order at that time. Please. Chapter 74 The Essence of an Assassin. Yang Fan was the first to recognize the identity of the Black Shadow. Zhu Xiaogang? Yang Fan's inner surprise at this time could not be described in words. Why was Zhu Xiaogang here? Logically speaking, shouldn't she have fled the Xingluo Empire 3 years later? Where is she? She was just here. Hurry up and find her. I don't want to see her in the audience of this Soul Master elite competition. Between the pursuit of the family and the hostility of strangers, ZHU Zuking decisively chose to believe the latter. She stared at every move outside vigilantly. Not long after, when there was no movement outside, her tense body relaxed instantly, and the whole person sat on the ground and began to breathe heavily. At this time, ZHU Zuking did not completely let down her guard. She stared at Yang Fan in the cave. After confirming that the hostility of the other party gradually disappeared, her tense nerves also showed a trace of relaxation. Thank you. ZHU Zuking's voice was very soft and cold, but it was particularly clear in the cave, where you could hear a pin drop. I didn't save you. Yang Fan didn't want to have anything to do with the Xingluo ZHU family. As a commoner, he couldn't even figure out the affairs of his own family, so how could he care about the affairs of the Emperor's family? However, the appearance of ZHU Zuking was like pouring a bucket of cold water on Yang Fan's head, making him realize that Xingluo and Xiandao were both in turmoil recently. With the arrival of the 5-year Soul Master competition as scheduled, undercurrents were also surging between the various forces in Douluo Continent. You didn't hurt me either. With the end of this simple conversation between the two, the cave fell into silence again, and the only sound that could be heard was the sound of ZHU Zuking's breathing. The moonlight emerged from the clouds, and a little light appeared in the dark cave. At this time, Yang Fan saw that ZHU Zuking's left shoulder was injured, but the injury was not fatal. Under his gaze, ZHU Zuking began to move her body on the ground with difficulty, and took out a small medicine bottle behind a loose stone next to the cave. At this time, Yang Fan understood what was going on. No wonder ZHU Zuking found the cave he had found with great difficulty. It turned out that the human footprints left in it before were all from the girl in black in front of him. When ZHU Zuking treated the wound on his left shoulder, Yang Fan's eyes suddenly lit up. Blood coagulation powder? The white powder in the medicine bottle was the blood coagulation powder that could only be made from the recipe that Yao Lao left for the Poe clan. Grandpa is good. Now that the family's business has been extended to the Xingluo ZHU family, I'm afraid that many noble families in the Xingluo Empire have also stockpiled this special hemostatic medicine. This is the first good news about the family that Yang Fan has seen in recent times. When he recovered, he found that ZHU Zuking at the entrance of the cave was looking at him vigilantly. When their eyes met, he could feel ZHU Zuking's tense nerves and inner vigilance at this time. It's understandable. The cruel survival of the fittest system of the Xingluo royal family and the Xingluo ZHU family is well known throughout the Douluo Continent. In most cases, only one nether-world white tiger can survive among the direct descendants. In this cruel environment, no one has any trust. After a brief stalemate, Yang Fan directly focused his attention on other places and chose to treat ZHU Zuking as heir. Anyway, there is only one night between the two of them. Say goodbye at dawn. No words all night. The next day, the sounds of the small animals outside the cave almost woke ZHU Zuking and Yang Fan up at the same time. The two of them had one thing in common. That was that they would keep their nerves tense, even when they were sleeping. Yang Fan did it because of the good habits he developed from long-term cultivation in the Soul Beast Forest, while ZHU Zuking did it because of the family competition that could kill her at any time. In the morning, both of them chose to leave this place of right and wrong, but surprisingly, they both took steps in the same direction. I want to go to Xingluo City, and I can only take this road. ZHU Zuking, who was at the back, suddenly spoke. This was also the first time she had said such a long paragraph. In fact, there was no need to explain. Yang Fan certainly knew that ZHU Zuking was going back to the ZHU family. He guessed that ZHU Zuking might have come to the Soul Beast Forest to obtain the second soul ring, or she might have been undergoing some kind of assessment by the ZHU family, but in the process she was secretly killed by her sister ZHU Zuan. Of course, these were all Yang Fan's own guesses. Yang Fan was not a talkative person, and when he met the taciturn ZHU Zuking, the air around him seemed to fall into silence. Yang Fan, who thought they would part ways at noon, encountered a small episode after climbing over a small hill. Raw, a tiger jumped out of the woods, blocking the way of Yang Fan and ZHU Zuking. The tiger was about 5 meters long and 2 meters tall at the shoulder. Its sturdy front paws were thicker than Yang Fan's thighs. The most striking thing was the orange-red lines on its body that looked like flames. Explosive flame tiger. Yang Fan recognized the species of this flaming tiger at a glance. From its size, it was not difficult to tell that this flaming tiger was about 3,000 years old. In the past, Yang Fan would have slapped this beast into the mud. However, he could not reveal his strength in front of Zhu Xiaogang. Roar, the explosive flame tiger roared and launched a fierce attack on the two. Fire attribute soul beasts have one common characteristic: they are very angry. However, the explosive flame tiger is more irritable than any other fire attribute soul beast. If you don't provoke it, it will bite you. If you provoke it, it will bite you even more. Therefore, there is a rumor in the Soul Master Circle, when encountering the explosive flame tiger in the Soul Beast Forest, only one Soul Master or Soul Beast can survive. In a flash, the explosive flame tiger had already pounced on the two people. The moment the huge body began to fall from the air, Yang Fan clearly saw the sharp claws popping out from the thick tiger arms. Swish, the sharp tiger claws cut the waist-thick tree in half. Although Yang Fan is not a quick attack soul master, his strength is infinitely close to that of a soul master, which makes him faster than Zhu Xiaogang. At this time, the explosive flame tiger, which missed the first attack, has become more irritable. The moment it opened its bloody mouth, a ball of flames was sprayed at Yang Fan. This is the signature skill of the explosive flame tiger, explosive flame fury. It is also the symbol of its ability to become one of the top soul beasts in Douluo Continent. Yang Fan slid back and pulled away, causing the explosive flame tiger's second attack to miss again. At this time, Zhu Xiaogang's attack fell. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The possession of the nether spirit cat made her nails grow horribly long and frighteningly sharp. The two spirit rings on her body flashed and scratched hundreds of times on the back of the explosive flame tiger. The subsequent attacks scratched a large area of tiger hair. The explosive flame tiger reacted and turned to Zhu Xiaogang with a fiery anger. Although she narrowly avoided it, Zhu Xiaogang was not feeling well at this time because of her old injuries. At this time, the puzzled look she cast at Yang Fan seemed to say, "I'm like this, and you are still not here?" Zhu Xiaogang's timing of cutting in was very accurate, and her attack method showed speed and accuracy to the fullest. It can be said that she played the essence of a sensitive attack spirit master. But no matter what, she is only a 2-ring spirit master now, and the sneak attack from behind did not cause fatal damage to the explosive flame tiger. Chapter 75 Equipment Explosion. Although Zhu Xiaogang's attack did not cause fatal damage to the explosion tiger, it succeeded in completely enraging the tiger. Angry. Sometimes it can burst out with unprecedented potential, but in most cases it will lose its mind and expose its weaknesses to the opponent. Yang Fan moved. He kicked his feet hard, using the rebound force to push his body out, and the flames rose up while turning his palm into a fist and blasting out. With his current strength, this punch can completely kill this 3,000-year-old explosion tiger. But Yang Fan did not do this. He did not want Zhu Xiaogang to see that his strength was not in line with his age and arouse suspicion. So Yang Fan did not kill the explosion tiger with his palm, but just beat the beast to roll on the ground for a few rounds. But the hidden power on the fist was actually working inside the tiger's body. Although the power of this punch did not seem to be very good on the surface, Zhu Xiaogang couldn't help but secretly say in her heart when she saw the successful sneak attack, "Well done." She always felt that Yang Fan should not be as useless as he just showed, but the first shot surprised her. A person can actually have such a strong explosive power without activating his martial spirit. The battle is still going on. Zhu Xiaogang took advantage of Yang Fan's successful sneak attack and launched his second soul skill. Netherwa rolled 100 claws. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. With the continued rotation of her body and the sharp penetrating power of her cat claws, Zhu Xiaogang attacked the part she had just attacked hundreds of times in a very short period of time, and the speed was so fast that after images appeared, such attacks made Yang Fan's back feel cold. It was that Zhu Xiaogang's strength was not enough at the moment, otherwise the 3,000-year-old explosive flame tiger would have been scratched to pieces by her. At the same time, Yang Fan's attack fell again. A punch on the left, a punch on the right. Although the explosive flame tiger can be regarded as one of the top soul beasts on the Douluo Continent, the 3,000-year-old limit makes him barely have the strength of a human soul master. Facing the joint attack of Yang Fan and Zhu Xiaogang, he soon had to passively take the beating. In the end, under Yang Fan's flaming punch, the explosive flame tiger died on the spot. Although it looked like the explosion flame tiger was beaten to death, Yang Fan knew that the beast's internal organs might have been twisted into a knot. The battle is over. Yang Fan took out a sharp blade and stabbed the explosion flame tiger's head fiercely. After confirming that there was no soul bone, Yang Fan's expression was slightly disappointed. Although there was no soul bone found in the explosion flame tiger, Yang Fan did not intend to let this 3,000-year-old soul beast go. He chopped off the tiger bones and tiger whip neatly. These two things are one of the medicinal materials for refining elixirs. Yang Fan's attention suddenly focused on the belly of the explosion flame tiger, which had been cut open. There appeared a small green and gold pocket, and there was a strange pattern on the pocket. Storage soul guide? When Yang Fan took it in his hand, he realized that this small pocket was not simple, especially the strange pattern on the pocket. Yang Fan, who had lived in the territory of the Xingluo Empire since he was a child, naturally knew that it was an exclusive aristocratic pattern only for the Xingluo royal family. The Xingluo Empire is different from the Xiandao Empire. There is a brutal competition among the noble children of Xingluo. They are not as pampered as the nobles of Xiandao, and they are not fed soul rings like Xiandao. This is probably why Xiandao gradually collapsed in the long river of history 10,000 years later, while the Xingluo Empire is still strong. Yang Fan initially judged that this storage soul guide should be a noble of Xingluo who came to the soul beast forest to hunt soul rings and became the meal of the explosion tiger, but it is more likely that he was killed quietly by his family's competitors. He subconsciously looked in the direction of Zhu Xiaogang, but found that the woman was climbing over the hill next to her and heading towards the human world. No farewell. This is good. He and Zhu Xiaogang originally planned to part ways here. If it weren't for the sudden appearance of me, he might have walked out of this soul beast forest. Yang Fan didn't care so much. He cleaned the storage soul guide with mucus in his hand and slowly opened it with a feeling of opening a blind box. This is the storage soul guide of the Xingluo royal nobles, and it shouldn't be too shabby. The storage soul guide was slowly opened. The first thing that appeared in front of Yang Fan was gold coins. A lot of gold coins. There were as many as millions. Damn. Yang Fan swore that this was the first time he had seen so much money in his life. Sure enough, each of these royal nobles was rich, and they could take out millions of gold soul coins from any storage soul guide. Millions of gold soul coins may not be a big deal for royal nobles, but they can change his entire family. Yang Fan continued to search. He also found therapeutic drugs including blood coagulation powder in the storage soul guide. He still underestimated his grandfather's ability. The old man has transported the blood coagulation powder made by the family to the Xingluo nobles in the past 3 years. At this time, Yang Fan found a crystal clear pearl in the storage soul guide. The pearl is as big as a pigeon egg, and the whole body is emerald green. When placed under the sun, you can see the halo inside the pearl flowing. What touched Yang Fan the most was that when he held the pearl, he seemed to feel a breeze blowing around him. Yunfeng Pearl. Yao Lao suddenly appeared, with a little surprise in his tone. Master, what is this thing? Yang Fan has realized that this thing is not as simple as it looks. This pearl is called Yunfeng Pearl. Its main function is to refresh the cultivator's mind, and it can also provide a certain speed for the cultivator. I didn't expect to see such a thing in this world. At this point, Yao Lao couldn't help but secretly smack his lips. Although this little thing doesn't have much effect, it is very rare. He has lived for so long, and has only seen this kind of thing in the hands of a Daozun, when he was in Zhongzhou. Can it be refined into a pill? Yao Lao smiled and said, you could only know about pills. This little thing is a wearable item. Wearable item? Yang Fan tried the effect of this Yunfeng Pearl. The speed is indeed slightly improved, and you can feel a slight coolness after wearing it. Although the effect is minimal, the magic of this gem is that it is a wearable item, which can be said to be a kind of pendant, or an auxiliary equipment. I didn't expect that the Xingluo royal family actually had something. But think about it. The Xiandao Empire royal family has such a rare treasure as the Hanhei Kaiankun Heio. Isn't it allowed that the Xingluo royal family can have some assets? Yang Fan put the Yin Fengzhu in his arms. It's better than nothing. This little thing can still speed up his journey invisibly. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.